Chapter 6205 Sky Saber Valley. It was made up of 5 worlds, and the master of this world was called the Sky Saber Sovereign. His strength was extremely terrifying. He had once split open a world with a single saber. He had never lost a battle of the same level. He could be said to be a super powerhouse. When he felt the power of the lightning tribulation descending from the Sky Saber Sovereign naturally resisted immediately. "I have a saber that can break the world." Dazzling saber light swept across the world, completely splitting open the void. He actually split open a lightning bolt. One had to admit that his saber technique was extremely terrifying. However, what awaited him was not one lightning bolt, but thousands of lightning bolts. One after another, they fell continuously. After the Sky Saber Sovereign split open 3 lightning bolts, he was pierced by the 4th. One of his arms turned into a bloody mist after being struck by the thunderbolt. Then his other arm, his torso, and his head were all hit. He was beaten into a bloody mist. The other saber artists in the Sky Saber Valley were so frightened that they knelt on the ground. Dead. The godlike existence in their eyes. The Sky Saber Sovereign had died just like that? They dared not imagine. The Sky Snake Emperor and the Sky Saber Sovereign were not the only exceptions. In the universe, there were great emperor-level figures falling constantly. They fled. They tore open the void and headed for the high heavens. However, they found that there were still terrifying lightning bolts descending from the high heavens. They went down to the 9th underworld. However, they still could not escape. In the end, there was even a great emperor who asked, "Why? What kind of power is this? Why do you want to kill me? I have already become a great emperor. I can live forever." There was no answer, only destruction. After that great emperor let out a desperate roar, he turned into ashes. At this moment, all the martial artists in the universe were stunned. It was not that there were no great emperors falling. In the previous battles, many great emperors had fallen. However, those battles were so tragic. Each time, it was a legendary battle that could be talked about for countless years. However, what were the great emperors like now? They were mercilessly killed like ants. What kind of expert was doing this? Was it a land immortal? However, even a land immortal could not be so terrifying, right? Not long after, the first super great emperor fell. The super martial monarch had been running away from the Skyland, but he was killed the moment he left the Skyland. The universe's starry sky had already been dyed red by the great emperor's blood. The surrounding worlds could not withstand it and began to crack. Mountains and rivers shattered and cities collapsed. Some of the weaker ones were directly torn apart by the bloody aura. Doomsday had arrived. Everyone was in despair. The people from the Hidden Emperor Star were also trembling with fear. Was this the heavenly punishment that Lin Xian and the others had mentioned? Previously, they didn't understand, but at this moment they understood. The members of the Divine Union were worried. They didn't know how Lin Xian, Xueqi, and the others were doing. Quickly join hands to block it. In the 9 Serenities, some great emperors quickly gathered. Among them, the experts of the Earth Kuan race shouted angrily. They summoned many great emperors to resist together. However, it was still useless. Although they could resist for a moment, once they ran out of energy, they would not be able to hold on any longer. The lightning would mercilessly pierce through them. In the blink of an eye, half of the people died in front of them. What to do? What to do? This was the question on everyone's mind. What should they do? The people from the Supreme Palace didn't escape either. Some of the Supremes had broken their seals and recovered to their peak. They could no longer be called Supremes. They became great emperors again. Originally, they were very happy to have recovered their peak strength. However, now that the heavenly tribulation had arrived, they had nowhere to hide. Reseal? However, they could no longer do so. The divine flames on their bodies could no longer be extinguished after being reignited, unless they died. Within a single day, 5 Supremes from the Supremes who had broken their seals had died. and it was still continuing. The Supremes who hadn't broken their seals secretly heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that they had avoided a calamity by not attacking with their full strength previously. The others roared crazily. "Quickly, ask the Grim Reaper for help. Please, the Grim Reaper, help." They had just finished crying when they heard a roar. The Grim Reaper soared into the sky. Beside him, there were also countless lightning bolts that chased after him. This was too much. The Grim Reaper roared, and the death scythe in his hand flew out. He was also fighting against the heavenly punishment. The people from the Supreme Palace were stunned. Even the Earth Immortals couldn't avoid it? Run. They began to flee. But where could they escape to? Whether it was the myriad worlds, the immortal land, the netherworld, or the heavenly land. There were heavenly tribulations everywhere. There was nowhere to run. Countless people in the star world were in despair. They saw the great emperors, who were high and mighty in their eyes, falling from the sky. Those were all corpses, the corpses of the great emperors. What kind of power was this? Even the great emperors couldn't survive? The people from the otherworld immortals sneered as they watched all this coldly. A day later, the Saber Immortal said, "It's about time to start. They are already terrified." The next moment, he said loudly, "I'll give you a chance. Submit to the otherworld immortals, and you can live." When the great emperors who were still fleeing heard this, a glimmer of hope ignited in their hearts. Could the otherworld immortals live? "We are willing to join the otherworld immortals." And me. For a moment, many great emperors said, "Please save us." The Saber Immortal said coldly, "Yes, from now on, you will be the slaves of the otherworld immortals. If I let you live, you can't die. If I let you die, you can't even frown." Slaves? Those great emperors were all dumbfounded. Are you kidding? They joined the otherworld immortals as subordinates. But they weren't slaves. Who were they? They were all strong masters of the same era. Even now, those who could become great emperors were as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Such people were so high and mighty. How could they become slaves? If they didn't want to, then they could only wait for death. After the Saber Immortal finished speaking, he stopped talking. Then more and more great emperors fell. Finally, someone couldn't help but say, "I'm willing. I'm willing to be a slave as long as I can live." Very well. An aura dropped from the sky. "Give me your soul, and you can live." That great emperor had no choice. His body was already full of cracks. If he didn't give up his soul, he would die without a doubt. He could only reluctantly give up his soul in the dazzling saber light. The next moment, he felt that his life didn't belong to him anymore. However, the saber light took him away. "You can live now." Seeing the scene, some people began to waver. Dignity or life, which was more important? Of course, not everyone was willing to become a slave. For example, the Heavenly Phoenix clan. At this moment, the clan leader of the Heavenly Phoenix clan roared, "All great emperors, listen up. Destroy the divine fire in your body. Become supremes. From now on, hide in seclusion and live. Wait for the heavenly tribulation to end." After the great emperors of the Heavenly Phoenix clan heard this, their eyes were filled with despair. Although they could live after becoming supremes, the price of living was too great. Even if they recovered to their peak again, their lives would be shortened. However, their lives would most likely be reduced. Moreover, could their strength really reach its peak? They weren't sure. Moreover, after they recovered, it would be difficult for them to improve again. It was many times more difficult than ordinary great emperors. "I can't care so much. I want you all to live," the Heavenly Phoenix clan leader roared. She took the lead to destroy the divine fire in her body. Chapter 6206. There were quite a number of people who had become supremes with the annihilation divine fire and immortal chi. Of course, there was another type which was to resist it. For example, these people from the deity realm. Among them, Upper Azure City was attacked by countless lightning bolts. These lightning bolts formed a huge hand of destruction that kept attacking. Every attack was earth-shattering, and Upper Azure City shook violently. However, 3 sword chi flew out and enveloped the entire Upper Azure City. Not only were there 3 sword chi, but there were also 3 types of sword chi. It was the power of the Great Dragon Sword, Reincarnation Sword, and Devouring World Sword. At this moment, they could still resist it. However, no one in Upper Azure City dared to be careless. The current heavenly punishment was sweeping across the universe. When most of the other great emperors in the later universe had fallen, it would probably focus its energy on attacking them. No one knew how long this heavenly punishment would last. However, everyone was prepared to resist it forever. There were great emperors and super great emperors who had fallen. There was even news that an Earth immortal in the 9 underworlds had been severely injured. When this news came out, the universe was even more shocked. Earth immortals were existences that surpassed great emperors. They were true immortals in the eyes of everyone. They were high and mighty, and they were immortal. But now, even an Earth immortal couldn't hold on? Everyone was in despair. At the critical moment, the deity realm spoke up and united everyone to fight against the Permitha. In an instant, many great emperors joined the deity realm. Moreover, there was another thing that made people feel even more despair. That was boundary emperors. After the Earth immortal was injured, there was news that boundary emperors had also begun to fall. Those lightning bolts had actually started to attack boundary emperors. In an instant, countless people were in despair. Were people below the great emperor also being attacked? The hidden emperor star was the same. On the divine union's side, boundary emperors had fallen. The Yi family, Gu family, Phoenix race, and Qilin race all had boundary emperors fall. This made them all despair. Firstly, there were more boundary emperors than great emperors. Moreover, this time, the boundary emperor didn't retreat at all. He wasn't even mentally prepared. Was he going to fall just like that? It wasn't just the buried emperor star. Boundary emperors from all the realms were also beginning to fall. Everyone was in despair. Is there no hope left? It seemed that only those below the boundary emperor level were safe. Of course, this kind of safety was relative, although there was no heavenly punishment attack. However, once the blood of a martial monarch landed on them, they would be turned into ashes. It could be said that this was a disaster for the entire universe. The people of the hidden emperor star were almost in despair. Many remote antiquity families had been destroyed, and the divine union was on the verge of collapse. But at this moment, at this critical moment, an aura came from the depths of the Gu family. It was the aura of the Void Emperor. The battle robe of the Void shone brightly as it landed on Gu Santong's body. Gu Santong's expression was solemn. With a shout, he split open the sky with both hands. A huge crack immediately appeared on the ground. This crack was directly connected to the universe. Could he leave? The others were watching nervously. They thought that the Gu family wanted to open a spatial tunnel and escape. But where could he escape to? However, they guessed wrong. The Gu family did not construct a spatial tunnel. Instead, they were summoning something from the depths of the universe. In the depths of the universe, in the boundless darkness, a ray of light emerged. It turned out to be an eye, an incomparably huge eye. The power of space on it was extremely terrifying. It tore open the void and descended towards the hidden emperor star. The speed of this eye was extremely fast. It did not take long for it to arrive above the hidden emperor star. Then the eye looked into the distance, and endless lightning bolts shot towards the crack. What was this? Countless people were shocked. The Yi family's patriarch exclaimed, "Could it be the eye of the Void Emperor?" It appeared. It was the eye of the Void. The people of the Gu family were also shocked. The Void Emperor had really left behind such a method. During the previous battle, the Yi family's heavenly emperor Phantom had appeared. The spirit mark of the devouring emperor had also appeared. However, the Gu family's Void Emperor had not appeared. Now, the power of the Void Emperor had finally appeared. It was an eye of the void. The appearance of this Eye of the Void had temporarily protected the quasi-emperors of the hidden Emperor Star. Suddenly, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. They discussed for a while and decided to head to Shangqing City. They could not care about the people of the other worlds. However, they planned to bring the quasi-emperors of the hidden Emperor Star with them to Shangqing City. After all, there were many quasi-emperors in the Divine Union. For example, by Susu the Toad, and the others were all quasi-emperors. After making a decision, they started to head to Shangqing City with the help of this Eye of the Void. This time, even the quasi-emperors had left. The hidden Emperor Star no longer had any power surpassing the Great Sage. When this Eye of the Void arrived at Shangqing City, it had already become dim and was about to shatter. Fortunately, the people in Shangqing City also noticed this. Why didn't I come? The power of the void. Lin Xian was surprised. Is it the Gu family? Lord Alcohol quickly used the devouring sword to form a vortex and swallowed these people. After entering, they asked, "Why are you here?" The Toad said, "You scared me to death." Even the quasi-emperors kept falling. Fortunately, we have the power of the Void Emperor on our side. Otherwise, we would all be dead. What? The quasi-emperors were also attacked. The people in Shangqing City were shocked. They really did not know about this news. Damn it. The Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth. The Bai-En is really ruthless. The Golden Lion King is also full of murderous intent. I'm afraid the myriad worlds will suffer a serious blow. We have to get rid of the Bai-En, otherwise the universe will never be peaceful. For a moment, everyone fell silent. Following that, they exerted all their strength to resist the attack. During this period, some other great emperors came and joined the divine realm to resist together. In the blink of an eye, a month passed. In this month, the people in the universe seemed to have experienced 10,000 years. It was too long. Every day, they spent in fear and despair. A month later, except for the Bai-En and the divine realm, there were no other great emperors in the world. The figures of the great emperors had disappeared. Those who resisted tenaciously were already dead. They either destroyed their divine fire and immortal chi and became supreme, or they had already joined the Bai-En, or they had joined the divine realm. Other than that, there were no other great emperors or quasi-emperors in the starry sky of the universe. Countless people were terrified and desperate. The people of the Bai-En laughed. This time we finally know who is the king of the universe, right? Some of the great emperors who joined the Bai-En also breathed a sigh of relief. Although they had become slaves, they were finally able to survive. Some people sighed in their hearts. It was said that after becoming a great emperor, one could live forever. But now they knew that it was easy to live forever, but difficult to not die. Next, they no longer attacked the great emperors, but the land immortals. Of course, there was another place, and that was Shangqing City. Shangqing City was now under more and more terrifying lightning attacks. In the sky, hundreds of lightning hands formed and kept slapping down. Every time it could destroy the world. The people in Shangqing City were also terrified. No one knew when their city would be breached. Chapter 6207. In Shangqing City, there were many new faces. These were all new people who had just joined. After these people came in, they first recuperated and then fought with all their might. Because they knew that Shangqing City was their last hope. They hated the Higan, Heavenly King, very much. Originally, they had no grudges with the Higan, Heavenly King. All they sought was a higher realm. However, the Higan, Heavenly King, disregarded everything and directly attacked them. If they didn't submit and become slaves, they would be killed. These people were really mad with anger. They only wanted to avoid this heavenly tribulation and then kill their way to the Higan, Heavenly King, with the divine realm. Lin Xian and the others kept urging the power of the great dragon sword spirit and the other two sword chi. Lin Xian's face was also pale. A month of continuous resistance had consumed a lot of his energy. Fortunately, he wasn't fighting alone now. Everyone, hold on a little longer. Soon we will counterattack, Lord Alcohol said in a deep voice. Although that was the case, there were still many people who didn't quite believe it. Was there really someone who could compete with the Higgin Heavenly King? This heavenly tribulation covered the entire universe. No one could avoid it. What kind of power could resist it? They didn't know. However, 5 days later, the divine realm really showed its power. Between heaven and earth, a figure blooming with golden light flew quickly. It was the fighting god. His statue-like body was now blooming with endless light, as if thousands of suns had fallen on his body. At the same time, there was a mountain beside him. It wasn't very tall. It wasn't big, but it was filled with a mysterious aura. Reincarnation Mountain. The fighting god brought the Reincarnation Mountain to the hidden Emperor Star. Xianyuan said, "I will take care of the rest. Go to Shangqing City." However, the fighting god shook his head. "No need. If I go there, I will attract a lot of heavenly tribulation. I will still stay under the Bodhi tree and comprehend the Tao. I have already embarked on that path. I have to continue walking. I can't turn back. The rest is up to you." After saying that, the fighting god returned to the Bodhi tree again. The golden light on his body disappeared. As for Sun Qitian, he had already been sent to Shangqing City. He had no worries. After being petrified, the fighting god silently resisted the heavenly tribulation that filled the sky. As for Xianyuan, he condensed sword qi, grabbed the Reincarnation Mountain, and flew into the universe. The heavenly tribulations ignored his power. This was because Xianyuan had once said that he had jumped out of the heavenly tribulation. The Reincarnation Mountain shone brilliantly between heaven and earth, scattering its radiance towards the other shore. The people of the other world, Heavenly King, were very proud of themselves. This was because they felt that they were the kings of the universe and that they could destroy and create everything. However, on this day, the entire Permitha shook violently. They discovered that a large hand of sword qi was flying over with a small mountain peak. Was he courting death? When the heavenly tribulation covered the entire universe, would anyone still dare to attack? "Stop! Die for me!" 2 great emperors flew out and attacked with terrifying immortal qi. However, it was useless. As the Reincarnation Mountain descended, the souls of the 2 great emperors were sucked into it. They screamed as their souls disappeared. What happened? The faces of the other experts in the Nirvana realm changed when they saw this. All of them retreated in fear. The great emperors who had just joined and become slaves were also shocked. No way. Is the Nirvana realm not safe anymore? Where else can we go in this world? The Reincarnation Mountain fell heavily on the Nirvana realm. The power of reincarnation completely erupted. Many people's souls were sucked into it. They screamed in pain as they were reincarnated. "Leave!" A furious roar came from afar. It was the Saber Immortal. He had made his move. He slashed down with his saber. The sharp saber light seemed to be able to split heaven and earth as it hit the Reincarnation Mountain. However, the Reincarnation Mountain was too strange. How did it form? It only shook a little. Everyone was shocked. The Saber Immortal was a land immortal. He was extremely powerful. Moreover, he cultivated an immortal technique. Among the land immortals, he was an extremely terrifying existence. Who could withstand his saber strike? However, this inconspicuous mountain peak blocked it. It was the Reincarnation Mountain. The Divine Realm had launched a counterattack. The Virtual Immortal, Ghost Immortal, and the others also appeared in the sky. Their expressions became solemn. Retreat! Defend! The people of the Nirvana realm quickly took action. At this moment, the giant hand formed by sword qi suddenly waved fiercely. Immediately, the Reincarnation Mountain was shattered. The power of reincarnation inside completely erupted and swept in all directions like an ocean. Some of the slower ones were enveloped by the power. Immediately, Their souls disappeared and they were reincarnated. One figure after another fell from the Nirvana realm. This scene was extremely shocking. No, I don't want to die. The three great emperors had just sacrificed their souls and became slaves. They had not had time to recover from their injuries. In the end, they were hit by the power of the reincarnation mountain. Their souls disappeared and were destroyed. The people of the Nirvana realm were the same. Step back. I'll do it. The Grand Supreme's voice sounded. Then another palm reached out from afar and slapped over fiercely, sending the power of reincarnation flying. The next moment, the Grand Supreme said coldly, "Xianyuan, do you want to die? I've already jumped out of the reincarnation. You can't hurt me." Xuanyuan's voice sounded in the sky. "I can't hurt you, but what about the others? They're still in the reincarnation cycle. Since you dare to use the universe tribulation, I'll use reincarnation. I'll let the Nirvana realm know what pain is. I'll save you from using such a crazy method to kill the common people." Boom! The sword Chi hand waved again. At this moment, the reincarnation mountain formed between heaven and earth again. Not only that, but there were 6 more worlds around it. That was the 6 paths of reincarnation. The people of the Nirvana realm continued to be attacked. They were frantic and terrified. Even Master Rashi and the other Earth immortals felt their scalps go numb. They originally thought that the celestial realm didn't have much power left. They didn't expect that they could still use their trump card to deal with them. Did I miscalculate? The Grand Supreme roared. He could only block the reincarnation mountain from the core area. At the same time, he roared and continued to activate the power of the divine punishment to chase after the people of the celestial realm. Let's see who can hold on first. In the next 3 months, Upper Azure City was constantly shaking. There were several times when the city's defenses were almost broken. However, everyone gritted their teeth and didn't hesitate to burn their divine fire and immortal chi to block the attacks. It was the same for the Nirvana realm. The power of the reincarnation mountain continued to erupt. The 6 paths of reincarnation killed many people. Among them, many great emperors died. This time, the Nirvana realm was really frightened. They once thought that they were the kings of the universe, high and mighty, and that they could control the fate of others. But they didn't expect that someone could threaten them. If this continued, the Nirvana realm would suffer great losses. Even if they won, they would lose 800 of their own. What was the reincarnation mountain? Some of the geniuses of the Nirvana realm went crazy. The sword immortal said the reincarnation sword was broken back then. Half of it turned into the reincarnation mountain. It turned out to be like this. Everyone was in despair. No wonder it was so terrifying. Chapter 6208. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Whether it was the God realm or the Nirvana realm, it was very painful. However, the attacks from both sides never stopped. The people in the other worlds in the universe were also very careful. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly now, let alone cross the starry sky. One by one, they returned to their families and secluded themselves. Now, not a single great emperor could be seen outside. The quasi-emperors had also disappeared. It seemed that everything had returned to the scene before the deity, ground, descended. Before the deity, ground, descended. The great saints were the most terrifying existences. Even if there were quasi-emperors, there were very few of them. They were all at the patriarch level and wouldn't appear at all. Now, they had returned to the starting point. It seemed that they had completed a reincarnation. They could still feel the power of the heavenly thunder in the sky. They wondered when these days would end. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. In these 10 years, the universe had quieted down. Many worlds had become dim. The thunder between heaven and earth was still there. This nirvana thunder tribulation targeted the entire universe. And the reincarnation of the God realm only targeted the Nirvana realm. Although it was only half of the reincarnation sword, the power of this attack was extremely terrifying. Just when everyone thought that this matter would continue, a voice sounded in the universe. A voice sounded in the universe. The heavens are virtuous. I will give you a chance. Whose voice was it? The creatures in the universe were stunned. Their faces were filled with confusion. In Qingqing, Lin Xian and the others were also shocked. Was it Grand Supreme's voice? However, the Golden Lion King and the others shook their heads. No, it wasn't Grand Supreme's voice. It wasn't Lord Xuanyuan's voice either. Whose voice was it? Even Lord Alcohol, Lin Zhan, and the others were shocked. At the same time, the Nirvana realm was also confused. Fox Immortal, Ghost Immortal, and the others frowned. This voice was filled with extremely terrifying power, making their souls feel uneasy. Grand Supreme suddenly stood up. Lightning surrounded his body, as if he was the god of thunder who controlled the world. At this moment, lightning burst out from his eyes as he looked at the endless universe. On the other side, even the fighting god, who had been silently cultivating, opened his eyes. His fiery golden eyes flickered. The mysterious Xianyuan opened his mouth. He only said 2 words. Immortal. That's right, I appeared. Come to Immortal City, where there was a chance of survival. But Xianyuan nodded. Humph. The Grand Supreme snorted, but he did not refuse. This made the people of the other side extremely surprised. What was the Immortal City? In the universe, the mysterious voice sounded again. Same old rules. The number of Dayan was 50, and 49 of them were taken. One of them was creation. 3 days later, Immortal City will open for you. After saying that, the mysterious voice in the world disappeared. Countless creatures began to discuss. Immortal City, what is that? What does it mean? The people from the God realm were also puzzled. However, Xuanyuan's voice soon rang out. Let me clear up your confusion. In the past, we had a great battle with the Otherworld Heavenly King and experienced such a tribulation. The battle back then was even more tragic than now. In the end, they had to enter Immortal City to resolve it. What was Immortal City? I don't have time to explain. I can only tell you the process and the rules. 3 days later, 50 people from our God realm and 50 from Permitha will enter Immortal City. These 50 people were randomly chosen. Of course, other than the land immortals. 100 people entered Immortal City, and there were 49 longevity fruits inside. Obtaining one would allow one to leave. One could stay in Immortal City for 100 years. If one couldn't obtain the longevity fruit within 100 years, they would stay inside forever, unable to come out. Lin Xian and the others were surprised when they heard this. 100 people went in, but only 49 came out? How cruel! However, could this change the situation? Could it change the heavenly tribulation? Xianyuan said, of course. Whoever came out with more people would win. The winner wouldn't suffer any losses. The loser would be miserable. Their cultivation resources would be deprived, and people like the Grand Supreme wouldn't be able to make a move easily. Not only that, the land immortals would probably be forced to walk that path. They understood the first 2. But as for being forced to walk the path of cultivation, Lin Xian and the others were surprised. Was there any danger to the land immortals? At this moment, Lord Alcohol said, the land immortals will choose to be petrified. The fighting god you saw was the result of being petrified. After being petrified, the restrictions would be too great. They wouldn't be able to move around freely, and they might not even be able to use their full strength. Moreover, once they were petrified and failed to walk, they would probably die. Lin Xian, Xue Qi, and the others were shocked when they heard this. The Crimson Dragon said the fighting god was petrified. Could it be that we failed last time? That's right. We did fail the last time we entered the Immortal City. So, we were very miserable that time. After everyone heard this, they took a deep breath. Did we fail last time? What about this time? Can we succeed? Who should we send out of the 50 people? Lin Xian and the others still wanted to discuss. Xianyuan said, it's useless. Choose randomly. This increased the uncertainty. However, Xianyuan said, the chosen person is extremely dangerous. If he fails, the price will be very high. However, there was still a chance of survival. If we really failed, there was still a portion of us who could survive. However, I don't want to see such a scene. This time I want to win. That's right, I want to win. Lin Xian clenched his fists. The others also took a deep breath. Of course, there was still hope, and that was to find the immortal token. That was their only fortune. If they could find the immortal token, as long as the 50 people who went in didn't die inside, they would be able to come out alive. Moreover, once they found it, it would be an absolute victory. Even if Bian found all 49 longevity fruits, he couldn't compare to us. After Lin Xian heard this, his eyes turned red. The immortal token! He had to get it. It was too difficult. Last time, no one could find it. It wasn't just us. The other side didn't even have a clue. Even Xianyuan said so. The possibility of finding it was really not big. However, Lin Xian gritted his teeth. If he were to be chosen to enter, he would be in trouble. If he was selected, then he had to find the immortal token. All right, you guys get ready. 3 days later, you will enter the immortal city. On the other side, the voice of the Grand Supreme also came out. Some people on the other side didn't know about the situation. After hearing this, they were also extremely shocked. Was a test coming? The Grand Supreme said, last time we won and directly shattered them. They wouldn't be able to recover for 5 million years. This time we must succeed. Do you understand? We can only succeed, we can't fail. Yes, the experts on the other side quickly responded. The 5 Earth Immortals also walked out. They began to open the treasury. They distributed the treasures to everyone. Those who were selected had treasures on them and had a higher chance of survival. Of course, those who weren't selected would have their treasures taken back. For example, Nine-Tailed Fox was also given a lot of treasures. He looked at his master and said, Master, can you bring your divine artifact? If he had a divine artifact, his strength would be greatly increased. However, Fox Immortal said, even if I give you a divine artifact, it won't be of much use. Because in the immortal city, the power of a divine artifact was suppressed. Instead of taking a divine artifact, it was better to take more treasures used by a super great emperor. That way, the effect would be greater. Chapter 6209 Upper Azure City. Lin Xian and the others began to prepare silently. The atmosphere was a little heavy. After all, no matter who was chosen, they would bear a heavy responsibility. Morong Qingqing said, I don't know. What is the immortal city like? They had many guesses, but no one knew. Lord Alcohol didn't know either. Lord Alcohol was a land immortal last time and didn't enter. Lin Zhan didn't know either. Lin Zhan didn't wait until the end, but he had already reincarnated. The ones who went in were the Empress, the Golden Lion King, the Demon Emperor, and the others. However, they couldn't tell them in detail because they couldn't finish it in 10 days and 10 nights. It was too big and vast inside with endless difficulties. And this time the place where the longevity fruit was definitely different from the last time. Therefore, they could only warn everyone. They had to be careful, very careful. In the immortal city, in addition to guarding against the people of the other side, they also had to be careful of the dangers inside. There were ancient arrays, terrifying demonic beasts, and even terrifying experts. Seeing that the atmosphere was a little tense, Lin Xian smiled and said, What if I really find the immortal token? What are the benefits? The Golden Lion King smiled. We really don't know the benefits. No one has ever found the immortal token. Kid, if you really want to find it, you can try your best. If you succeed, you might be able to shatter the eternal land. At this moment, the Demon Emperor suddenly spoke. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Really? The Empress also said, Don't talk nonsense. The Demon Emperor shrugged. You don't know. Maybe it's really possible. However, the Empress looked at Lin Xian and said, "You guys go in and try your best to find the longevity fruit first. The immortal city is too mysterious and dangerous. Therefore, unless it's absolutely necessary, don't look for the immortal token. It might even be a waste of time." "I know. When the time comes, we will act according to the circumstances." Everyone nodded. On the third day, when the sun rose, a mysterious aura came from between heaven and earth. At this moment, the power of reincarnation and the power of heavenly punishment seemed to have disappeared, because the illusion of an ancient city appeared between heaven and earth. That's right, the illusion of this ancient city was so big that people in the universe could see it. What kind of city was this? Do you want to fit the entire universe into it? Since the immortal city had appeared, Xianyuan and Taishang didn't attack again. Both sides temporarily stopped fighting. They were waiting for Immortal City's results. "Go! Try your best to come back alive," Xianyuan said. On the other side, the Grand Supreme also ordered, "Don't fail." Buzz, 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 buzz. Some people in Shangqing City and the Eternal Land suddenly disappeared. This time, being sent to Immortal City was truly a random teleportation. The person who was teleported was someone below the Earth Immortal Realm. Super Martial Emperors disappeared, Martial Emperors disappeared, and even Quasi-Emperors disappeared. "Allure!" Lin Xian suddenly exclaimed. He realized that Murong Qingqing had also disappeared. The Golden Lion King and Leaf Daodenier both disappeared. Lin Xian was anxious. "Hurry up and choose me." So many of his friends had gone in, including Murong Qingqing. He was really worried. Finally, he felt his body flicker, and he disappeared as well. "Husband!" Xueqi and the others cried out in alarm once again. "Pick me!" Xueqi raised her head and shouted. However, it was useless. Random teleportation. "Damn, don't choose me. I'm still a quasi-emperor. Treat me well, okay?" The toad let out a strange cry and disappeared. One by one, the silhouettes disappeared until there were 50 people left. On the other side, the same thing happened to the Heavenly King. The nine-tailed fox was also teleported away. After these 100 people entered Immortal City, the illusion of the huge city in the universe disappeared. It was like a dream that had never appeared. However, the people from the God Realm and the Heavenly King knew that their victory and defeat would continue in Immortal City. In the ancient city, 100 people appeared in front of the gate that was full of vicissitudes. Lin Xian and the others felt dizzy. They came back to their senses and immediately divided into two teams. They were clearly separated. "I really want to kill you all here." The nine-tailed fox and the others gritted their teeth. Lin Xian snorted coldly, "Attack if you have the guts." However, no one dared to act rashly. Immortal City was incomparably mysterious. Who would dare to be impudent at this time? Therefore, the people from the Heavenly King could only snort coldly. Then they began to size each other up. Soon, the people from the Heavenly King laughed. From the looks of it, they had the advantage. Although there were 50 people on each side, they were all randomly teleported. On their side, there were 18 super great emperors, while the other side only had 15. They had 3 more top combatants. This was a decisive advantage. Therefore, how could they not be happy? Lin Xian also saw it. However, he didn't care. It was only 3 less. In fact, the difference between the two sides wasn't that big. On their side, there were 15 super great emperors, 30 ordinary great emperors, and 5 quasi-emperors. On the other side, there were 18 super great emperors, 25 ordinary great emperors, and 7 quasi-emperors. The difference between the two sides wasn't that big. The most important thing was to find the longevity fruit. At this moment, they were still outside Immortal City. They hadn't entered the city yet and were waiting. At this moment, a loud voice sounded in the city again. "You all have 100 years to stay in Immortal City." There are 49 longevity fruits scattered all over Immortal City. You all need to find them yourselves. If you find a longevity fruit, you will have the right to live or leave. If you can't find one, you will stay here forever. You will be killed by the power of Immortal City. Other than that, there is also an immortal token. After obtaining it, it can save the lives of others. Lin Xian and the others already understood these rules. However, there were still some rules that they didn't know. For example, the loud voice continued, "Fighting is not prohibited in Immortal City. However, there are some battles that require a price to pay. You can fight stronger opponents, but you can't turn the tables and bully the weak. You can kill the weak. However, you will be weakened, injured, chased by arrays, chased by demonic beasts, and so on. The choice is up to you. Now, welcome to Immortal City." Not long after the voice sounded, the city gates slowly opened. Everyone looked forward and took a deep breath. They still couldn't see the scene in the city clearly. At the entrance, there was a ball of hazy light. "Let's go." Lin Xian took a deep breath. Everyone on their side entered. After entering, they felt a teleportation force again. It was another random teleportation. Lin Xian felt that Murong Qingqing beside him disappeared. He could only say, "Qingcheng, be careful. Brother Xian, don't worry. I can take care of myself." Everyone transmitted their voices to each other. Then, Lin Xian came to an unfamiliar street. In the next moment, he used his Rinnegan to look. He found that the ancient city was very big, like a real world. Not only was there a city, but there were also mountains and rivers, including all kinds of terrain. There were probably many demonic beast experts here, right? Sure enough, just as he was thinking, a team of 10 people rushed over. These people were wearing armor and holding weapons. The leader shouted coldly, "Intruder? Take him down." Chapter 62:10. The 3 guards were extremely fast. Their strength was also terrifying. The spears in their hands transformed into 300-meter-long dragons. It was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He struck out with his palm and shattered the 3 spears. Then he waved his hand. A terrifying storm formed in the void and enveloped the 3 guards. The 3 guards screamed in agony and vomited blood. However, their armor did not shatter. After the armor suffered the impact, it quickly brought the 3 guards away. Lin Xian was extremely shocked. What a strange armor. The metal was definitely beyond his imagination. The 3 guards also escaped. They roared crazily. This time, the intruder's strength was beyond imagination. They quickly gathered an army to sweep him away. Buzz! Lin Xian would not give the intruder a chance to sweep him away. Hence, he left in a flash. Not long after he left, more than 10 guards rushed over. They even had the aura of a great emperor. With a furious roar, the guards quickly chased after him. Lin Xian was extremely fast. He had already left the street. 2 days later, Lin Xian discovered an ancient palace in front of him. It was surrounded by vines. It seemed to have been abandoned for a long time. Moreover, there was no one around the palace. However, Lin Xian raised his eyebrows. This was because he felt the aura of a few people inside. His figure flashed, and he immediately rushed in. After entering, Lin Xian was stunned. This was because he realized that these were not people he knew. They were not people from the god domain or the Permitha. Then who were these people? In addition to the guards from before, Lin Xian was shocked. Could it be that there were people living in the Immortal City? This was too unbelievable. The origin of the Immortal City was extremely mysterious. What kind of people were living here? He looked at their cultivation and was surprised. It was not as terrifying as he imagined. There were great emperors, and super great emperors. However, there was only one super great emperor. If such a lineup was placed in the universe, it could sweep through everything. However, it was not that conspicuous in the god domain or the Permitha. Who was it? At this moment, a furious roar came from the broken palace in front of them. This was the voice of the super powerful being. The others also acted as if they were facing a great enemy. Someone said that the Red Flame Army had come. Fear appeared in their eyes. However, when they saw that it was a young man who came in, they were stunned. They weren't wearing red flame armor, so they weren't from the Red Flame Army. They all heaved a sigh of relief. Who are you? Why are you loitering outside the palace? You're an assassin. Are you here to scout for information? A middle-aged great emperor said in a deep voice. His aura was unparalleled, and the phantom of a demonic beast could be vaguely seen. Who are you people? What was he planning here? Lin Xian asked. He could see that although these people weren't from sacred or otherworld, they were still being chased by the guards. Since it's not the Red Flame Army, it's easy. Boy, we recently found a treasure location in the southern region and we're preparing to attack it. However, the Red Flame Army is very annoying and often chases after us. Are you interested in joining us? Although the other party was only a young man, he was still a young great emperor. If he joined them, he would have an additional force. There were a total of 12 people in front of them. After Lin Xian joined them, there would be 13 people. Okay, Lin Xian nodded. No problem. Anyway, he was unfamiliar with this place. If he directly asked about the longevity fruit, wouldn't he expose his identity? He might as well follow these people and see what the treasure they were talking about was. After waiting for another 2 hours, they set off. During this process, Lin Xian also understood that these people weren't from the southern region. They were from other regions of Immortal City. The super great emperor in the lead was called Great Emperor Sky Scorpion. He was very strong. Moreover, his tail was extremely poisonous. Once pierced, even great emperors would die. He led the group and charged forward. On the way, they met 2 teams that were similar to the ones Lin Xian had met before. The Red Flame Army attacked aggressively. The flames they shot out were extremely terrifying. Great Emperor Sky Scorpion roared and blasted the flames away. Then he said, "Kill them." They quickly charged forward. Lin Xian didn't show too much of his strength in the team. He only used the power of the 9-yang divine body to sweep the area. After defeating the 2 Red Flame Army, the other great emperors all laughed. As expected of Great Emperor Sky Scorpion, he was indeed strong. That's right. Fortunately, Great Emperor Sky Scorpion is here. Otherwise, we would be in danger. When the time comes, half of the treasure will be given to Great Emperor Sky Scorpion. We'll split the rest. One after another, voices rang out. Great Emperor Sky Scorpion laughed. Let's work together and find the treasure first. He was the strongest. After finding the treasure, these people wouldn't dare to fight with him. Just as they were talking, Lin Xian's expression suddenly changed. He said, "Quickly dodge." The others didn't react, but Great Emperor Sky Scorpion's expression changed. He moved his body sideways, but it was too late. Half of his body was split open. Blood splattered everywhere. One of his arms turned into a bloody mist. This sudden change left everyone dumbfounded. That was Great Emperor Sky Scorpion, a super great emperor. 2 strands of immortal chi. How terrifying was his strength. They didn't expect him to be so heavily injured in an instant. Who attacked him? Quickly defend. For a moment, everyone was on guard. Lin Xian's expression also darkened. The power of reincarnation bloomed in his eyes and froze the void. In front, Great Emperor Sky Scorpion also took out a pill and quickly swallowed it. 2 strands of immortal chi surrounded his body. His broken body quickly healed. In the next moment, he raised his head. Terrifying demonic chi bloomed in his eyes. No matter who you are, you're dead. I won't let you go. Is that so? Won't let me go. I don't intend to let you go either. A cold voice sounded in the void. Then a shadow walked out. This shadow was illusory at first, but it instantly turned into a human figure. The person wore dark golden armor, which was different from the Red Flame Army. Not only that, but he also had a dark golden sword in his hand. It was stained with the blood of a great emperor. Clearly, this was the person who attacked. Great Emperor Sky Scorpion's expression changed when he saw the other party's appearance. Divine Shadow Guards, you guys actually attacked? This was impossible. He looked as if he had seen a ghost. The figure in front sneered. Attacking you specifically? You think too highly of yourself. I just happened to pass by and saw you. However, I can only say that you guys are too unlucky to have met me. Then I'll send you on your way. After speaking, he waved his arm. The dark golden sword in his hand burst out with powerful sword chi. Great Emperor Sky Scorpion roared and transformed into his true body. It was a terrifying demonic beast. The tail behind it swung out with silver light. With a boom, it collided with the dark golden sword. Clang! A sound rang out in all directions. Fortunately, Immortal City was extremely vast and boundless. The battle here didn't attract the attention of others for the time being. However, this was a battle between great emperors. It wouldn't be long before others came. I have to end this battle quickly. Great Emperor Sky Scorpion thought. In the next moment, he roared. Immortal Poison Stab. This was his decisive attack. However, the Divine Shadow Guard sneered and cut off the other party's tail. Great Emperor Sky Scorpion was heavily injured and turned to flee. Chapter 62:11. Do you think you can escape from me? The Divine Shadow Guard stabbed out a few more times, cutting off the other party's escape route. The Sky Scorpion Emperor didn't dare to take the attack head-on. His eyes were filled with despair. Am I going to die? Other than him, the others weren't his match at all. As expected, the other great emperors and boundary emperors turned pale when they saw this scene. Since the Sky Scorpion Emperor wasn't his match, they could only escape. I'll kill anyone who dares to move. The Divine Shadow Guard turned around with a cold glint in his eyes. His voice was like the cold wind of winter, causing the souls of the surrounding people to tremble. It was too terrifying. Just one look was enough to make them feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave. These people were scared silly. However, there was a figure who was walking forward. The Divine Shadow Guard was stunned. You want to die? Then I'll fulfill your wish. With that, he slashed out with his sword. It was that kid. Everyone saw the figure walking forward. It was Lin Xian. What is this kid trying to do? How dare he offend the Divine Shadow Guard? Is he tired of living? Facing the dark golden sword chi, Lin Xian also struck out with a sword light. His opponent's sword chi was like a dark meteor, while his sword was dazzling and vast. The Divine Shadow Guard's expression was incomparably cold. He was filled with disdain because everything was under his control. However, when Lin Xian slashed out with his sword, his expression changed. There was a trace of panic in his expression. This was something that had never happened before. With a boom, his dark sword light was cut apart. The Divine Shadow Guard's figure swayed and dodged the sword. His face was filled with disbelief. How did you do that? Everyone else was stunned. Even the Sky Scorpion Emperor looked as if he had seen a ghost. She didn't even have the strength to fight back against the Divine Shadow Guard. How could an ordinary great emperor break his sword chi? He looked at Lin Xian with a dumbfounded expression. It was as if this was the first time he had seen this youth. Your sword is only SOSO. You're not my match. Get out of my way. Lin Xian said indifferently. His voice was even calmer. His eyes were like a ruler. This expression drove the Divine Shadow Guard crazy. Isn't this the expression that he should have? Why didn't Ant possess it? In the next moment, he gave up on the Scorpio Emperor and turned to slash at Lin Xian. The dark, golden, long sword blossomed with a biting cold radiance. Even the Sky Scorpion Great Emperor couldn't contend against this sword. Could Lin Xian withstand it? Lin Xian unsheathed his sword. It was as if he had transformed into a peerless sword god. A thunderous voice rang out. Heaven and earth were split into two halves. Boom! The divine shadow guard was sent flying. His arm had split open, and the long sword in his hand had lost its luster. You! Who are you? I'm someone you can't afford to offend. Lin Xian's eyes also shone with a cold light. He raised his arm again, and there was a terrifying sword chi flashing on it. What a terrifying sword! The divine shadow guards did not dare to be careless and attacked with all their might. The two sword lights collided in the air. After 5 moves, the divine shadow guardian was defeated. He turned around and wanted to leave, because he had never thought of it. How could there be such an expert swordsman among these people? Lin Xian formed hand seals and activated the Cosmos Sword Array, trapping the divine shadow guard. Then he took out the immortal slaying sword and stabbed forward. The immortal punishing sword was a divine weapon. Although divine weapons were suppressed in Immortal City, the immortal slaying sword combined with immortal force was terrifying to the extreme. Boom! Although the divine shadow guard tried his best to block, he was still pierced. Cracks appeared on his armor. No! Damn it! Stop! The divine shadow guard panicked. No one had ever been able to break his armor. The Sky Scorpion Great Emperor and the others were also dumbfounded. So there was such an expert hidden in their team. He was even more terrifying than a super great emperor. Who are you? You can't kill me. If you kill me, the entire Immortal City won't let you off. I'm just a member of the Divine Shadow Guard. Apart from me, there are even more powerful experts. I can spare your life, but you have to tell me some information. Otherwise, I'll make you wish you were dead. What do you want to know? Lin Xian looked at the divine shadow guard and said, Tell me everything you know about the Immortal City. Also, give me clues about the longevity fruit. You're an intruder. The divine shadow guard's expression changed greatly. The Sky Scorpion Great Emperor and the others were also stunned. What was an intruder? They didn't know. But from the looks of it, the divine shadow guard knew. Since the other party knew, Lin Xian didn't hide anything. He said, That's right, I'm an intruder, so you should know my determination. Without the longevity fruit, I won't be able to live. Do you think I let you off then? Speak. The divine shadow guard took a deep breath and said, Okay, I'll speak. The Immortal City was huge and was divided into 5 regions. Apart from the east, west, south, and north regions, there was also the central region. The central region, this stunned the Sky Scorpion Great Emperor and the others. They didn't know. Lin Xian was also shocked. It seemed like there was a secret, but what happened next shocked him even more. The divine shadow guard said, Of course, this is only the first layer of heaven. As for the other layers, I don't know. What did the first layer of heaven mean? Lin Xian was stunned. He felt like there was an even bigger secret in the Immortal City. There were 9 layers of heaven in the Immortal City. The place you're at now is the first layer of heaven. Apart from that, there are 8 layers. It's just that I haven't been there before. There was actually such a thing. Lin Xian was shocked. He looked at the Sky Scorpion Great Emperor and the others and asked, Do you know? The Sky Scorpion Great Emperor and the others were at a loss. The divine shadow guard said, There's no need to ask them. They don't know. Because they didn't have the qualifications to know. Then how do you go to the other layers? Also, how many longevity fruits are there in each layer? I really don't know about the longevity fruit, but I can tell you how to go to the other layers. You have to go to the central region. I think you can get the information about the longevity fruit from the central region. Lin Xian asked a few more questions. At the same time, he used his Rinnegan. The divine shadow guard's soul was tortured, and he immediately screamed. Finally, he said some more information. It turned out that there were even more terrifying existences in the other layers. It was even rumored that the last few layers had god-level existences. Those were all Empyrean gods. Was there any in the first layer? Lin Xian asked. He didn't expect that there was a god in the immortal city. This was a land immortal. Even he couldn't beat him. It wasn't easy. Could the longevity fruit be in the hands of the land immortal? Lin Xian thought about it and felt that it wasn't possible. Last time, it was said that the divine realm and Permitha had obtained some longevity fruits. Although it wasn't much, they still obtained it. And the person who came in wasn't a land immortal. If the person who came in last time could obtain it, then the longevity fruit shouldn't be in the hands of the land immortal. When the divine shadow guard heard this, he almost cried. Don't ask any more. I can't tell you anything about this level. If I tell you, I'll die too. Why don't you give me a quick death? Lin Xian snorted. He said, I can let you go, but I won't allow the divine shadow guard and the red flame army to chase after me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. You're very strong. We're not your match. We won't attack you again. I promise. The divine shadow guard hurriedly swore. Only then did Lin Xian let him go. Then he asked for the direction of the central region and flew there. Chapter 60-12. When Lin Xian was on the move, the others were also on the move. Whether it was the Nirvana realm or the divine realm, these people began to search for the longevity fruit. Some people were bold and directly grabbed someone to ask about the whereabouts of the longevity fruit. In the end, the red flame army chased after them. There were also people who hid themselves and slowly probed. Some people met the experts of the Nirvana realm and a big battle broke out. Some people chased after the people of the Nirvana realm, and some were chased by the people of the Nirvana realm. In short, the scene was very complicated. The Golden Lion King had been here before, so he came in again and grabbed the Red Flame army to ask. After all, the last time they were here, things were different from this time. The time in between was too long. He didn't know if it was hundreds of thousands of years or millions of years. Everything had changed. Other than some rules that he knew, they had to slowly search for other clues. Fortunately, the Golden Lion King and the others also received news of the central area. Therefore, these people moved quickly. The toad, on the other hand, was screaming miserably. It had been targeted by someone and was constantly running away. In the end, he pretended to be dead and dodged once. This made the toad's heart jump. Scary, it was really too scary. Should I find a place to hide for 100 years? Anyway, looking for the longevity fruit wouldn't be of much use. As for the immortal token, he didn't even need to think about it. But later on, pretending to be dead didn't work. He was chased by the Red Flame army again. Just when he was in despair, he met Lin Xian. That's great, kid, help me quickly. The toad jumped to Lin Xian's side and turned to look. These people were too despicable. The Red Flame army rushed over. Lin Xian slashed out with his sword. The vast sword chi was as fast as lightning, directly splitting heaven and earth. The Red Flame army was sent flying. Go! Lin Xian left with the toad and didn't fight too much. When they came to a safe place, Lin Xian asked the toad. The toad said, I don't know anything. I'm only a quasi-emperor now. I'm not enough here. If you didn't come, I'm afraid I would be the first to die. Lin Xian also frowned. That was indeed the case. The quasi-emperors were indeed a little weak here. He said, then follow me. Although Lin Xian had the sword whirled in his body, he did not dare to put the toad inside. After all, there was a limit to the number of people this time. If one of them disappeared, would there be any changes? Of course. Lin Xian did not dare to release Little White from the sword world. With one more person, he was even more afraid to try. However, the things inside the sword world still had power that he could use. Let's go. Follow me to the central district. Lin Xian continued forward with the toad. At the same time, in Immortal City, the east region of the first layer of sky, Murong Qingqing's expression was extremely cold. He had just escaped from the Red Flame army, so he didn't dare to be careless. A mountain range appeared in front of her. This mountain range was surrounded by a mansion. Who was the owner of this residence back then? There was actually an endless mountain range inside. What kind of method was this? Morong Ching was in this mountain range, carefully searching. At this moment, she felt the blood in her body churning, as if there was a resonance from her bloodline. A 7-colored light appeared on her body. She had the 7-colored Phoenix bloodline, which was extremely precious and rare in the Phoenix clan. Now that something like this had happened, even Morong Ching was surprised. Could it be that there was something here related to the Phoenix clan? Thinking of this, she was even more shocked. She began to search carefully. Soon, she discovered that there was a cave residence in the endless mountain range. An incomparably ancient cave residence was sealed by a formation. Morong Ching took a deep breath and flew towards the cave residence. The others continued to search. Soon, many people learned about the news of the Central District. They also learned about the news from the ninth heaven. It seemed that the longevity fruit was distributed in the ninth heaven. It was just that they didn't know how many longevity fruits there were in the first heaven. On the other side, Nine-Tailed Fox gritted her teeth and said, "Let's go to the Central District." They quickly met up and set off towards the Central District. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. They searched around, but they still couldn't find the Central District. They were all crazy. However, at this moment, they suddenly felt the ground tremble. A green light appeared in the air. It was an extremely green leaf. Those leaves connected into one and danced in the wind like willow branches. A mysterious aura of the great path spread out. What a terrifying power! What a mysterious phenomenon! Let's go over and take a look. Nine-Tailed Fox and the others cried out in surprise and quickly rushed over. On the other side, the Golden Lion King, Yi Wu Dao, and the others also noticed this. Immediately, they also rushed over. "Kid, look at what that is." The toad jumped out of a pagoda and pointed at the scene in the distance. Lin Xian said, "A terrifying and mysterious great path. Let's go and take a look." He turned into a sword light and soared into the sky with the toad. They flew towards the place where the willow branches appeared. Soon they were stunned because they found that the further they flew, the more willow branches there were. Millions of willow branches condensed into a willow tree. That willow tree was extremely huge. It was indomitable, as if it was a heavenly tree. Lin Xian was stunned when he saw this scene. It was a bit like the heavenly tree in his sword world. If it wasn't for the one in the sword world, it would still be there. Lin Xian suspected that the other party had run out. However, he was sure that this was a different willow tree. What a powerful life aura. If we snatch it, will it increase our level of life? Nine-Tailed Fox and the others went crazy. They quickly rushed over. One of the martial monarchs reached out his hand and grabbed at it. That palm was covered with lightning, tearing the void apart. He wanted to grab a willow branch in his hand. The willow branch swayed with the wind and instantly shattered the great emperor's arm. The great emperor screamed in pain and was sent flying. Although he didn't die, his face was filled with fear. This was the power of a land immortal. He cried out in surprise. The others were stunned. The power of a land immortal? This was actually a god. It was too unbelievable. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. Previously, he had learned from the divine shadow guards that there might be land immortals in the next few levels of the ninth heaven, and there was more than one. This made him suck in a breath of cold air. He would have to be extremely careful in the future. He just didn't expect to see a land immortal in the first level of the ninth heaven. "Greetings, Senior. We didn't know that Senior was here. We have offended you." Nine-Tailed Fox and the others quickly bowed and apologized. No matter how arrogant they were, they didn't dare to be impudent in front of a land immortal. Yi Wu Dao, the Golden Lion King, and the others also cupped their fists. "Greetings, Senior. Intruders, you are finally here." A low voice came from the front, as if an old man was speaking. At the same time, the surrounding willow branches became even more sparkling and resplendent. Chapter 60:213. Senior, I wonder where the longevity fruit is. Can you tell us some clues? Someone asked. The others all looked at him with hopeful eyes. Willow Deity said, "Accept my test, and I can tell you the clues." Is that true? That's great. These people were overjoyed. What kind of test was it? I'm the guardian of the first level of heaven. You can call me Willow Deity. There's a longevity fruit in the first level of heaven. This place is mainly for you to adapt to a mortal city, so there's only one longevity fruit. The others are in the other levels of heaven. Moreover, there's at least one earth immortal guarding each level. Some have more than one. Willow Deity said some things, some that Lin Xian knew before, and some that he didn't. After listening, Lin Xian was extremely shocked. Willow Deity waved his willow branches, forming a pressure that pressed down. Hold on for 3 days. If you can withstand it after 3 days, I'll tell you the whereabouts of the longevity fruit. Everyone roared and resisted crazily. Those demigods were the first to give up. The other great emperors were also pale. The super great emperors were trying their best to resist. Hold on, no one is allowed to take a step back. Nine-tailed fox roared crazily. They persisted for a day, their bodies swaying. Those great emperors couldn't hold on anymore. Only the super great emperors were still gritting their teeth and persisting. In 2 days, they would be able to get the clues. Whoever got the first longevity fruit would have the upper hand. It would be of great help to increase one's aura. They could also suppress the other party. On the second day, those super great emperors were almost in despair. Could they hold on for 3 days? Their intentions were already starting to become a little vague. To be honest, Lin Xian was also under a lot of pressure. His expression was solemn. The sword qi on his body kept slashing out to resist the other party's pressure. This was just a test. If he really attacked, they probably wouldn't be able to resist. Earth immortals were too powerful, especially this Willow Deity in front of them. He was even more unfathomable. But at this moment, Willow Deity suddenly exclaimed. He withdrew the willow branches that filled the sky. Below, the Golden Lion King, Nine-tailed Fox, and the others were stunned. Did they pass? That's not right. Lin Xian also frowned. It hadn't even been 3 days. What was going on? Everyone looked at Willow Deity. Willow Deity said, there was no need to test anymore. The first longevity fruit had already been obtained. What? Someone got it. What's going on? Who got it? Nine-tailed Fox went crazy. The Golden Lion King and the others were also dumbfounded as they looked around. This time, there were quite a few people who had reached the central area. However, there were still some people from both sides who did not come. Did the people who didn't come get the longevity fruit? But who was it? They all looked at Willow Deity. Willow Deity shook her head and said, I can only tell you that someone has obtained the longevity fruit. As for who it is, you can go and find it yourselves. There are no more clues about the longevity fruit in the first heaven. You can go to the second heaven. Hearing this, everyone went crazy. Should I leave now? He was unwilling to give up. Nine-tailed Fox turned her head and said, she wanted to find out who had obtained it. The Golden Lion King said to the people beside him. At the same time, he came to Lin Xian's side and asked, any clues? Lin Xian shook his head. He did not know. He looked around. Did you see Qing Qing? This was because he realized that Morong Qing Qing did not come. This made him a little worried. Could it be that Qing Qing had encountered some danger? I did not see her, but she is very strong and has the phoenix bloodline. There should be no problem. Lin Xian also nodded. That was indeed the case. This time around, Qing Qing brought 2 extreme weapons. One was the extreme weapon of the phoenix race, and the other was the extreme weapon of the jade pool. They were very terrifying. However, he did not know where the other party was now. At this moment, Murong Qingqing was also very surprised. She was still a little confused. Previously, she had found an ancient cave in this mountain range. When she approached the cave, she realized that the phoenix bloodline in her body had resonated. She was curious, so she wanted to investigate. When she arrived at the cave, she realized that there was an extremely powerful array outside the cave. It seemed that it could not be broken in a short time. Murong Qingqing planned to break it slowly. Just as she was about to make a move, the array suddenly burst with power and injured her palm. The blood of the phoenix flowed down and fell on the array. In an instant, the spirit formation actually disappeared. What was going on? Murong Qingqing was stunned. She walked forward and soon entered the ancient cave abode. After entering, she realized that there was a vine in the cave. There was a fruit on it that was incomparably green. After plucking it, she sensed a powerful life aura on it. Murong Qingqing was shocked. What kind of fruit was this? It was so terrifying. Was it a divine fruit? Could it be the legendary longevity fruit? In the next moment, she heard a loud voice in the sky. Someone had obtained the first longevity fruit. Murong Qingqing was shocked. It was me? She was still in a daze. However, she still carefully put away the longevity fruit. If this was the longevity fruit, it meant that she was safe. She had completed her mission. Of course, she would cooperate with the others to obtain more longevity fruits. However, she did not leave, because she realized that there seemed to be a summoning force in the depths of the cave that was calling her over. Murong Qingqing walked into the cave. Along the way, the array formations in the cave disappeared one after another. It was as if a path had been opened for her. After walking for some time, she finally stopped. There was a vast hall in the cave. It was extremely simple and unadorned. After Murong Qingqing entered, she realized that there were 4 statues around the hall. They were all statues of phoenixes that were spreading their wings and flying as if they had been reborn. Not only that, but the floor, walls, and ceiling were also engraved with ancient runes. It was very mysterious. Murong Qingqing was too surprised. She looked around curiously. At that moment, a voice sounded in the ancient cave. I didn't expect that after tens of thousands of years, another 7-colored phoenix would be able to come here. I'm really surprised. Who are you? Murong Qingqing cried out in surprise. She quickly put up a defense. There was an illusion of a phoenix on her body. At the same time, she took out the desolate tower and the Phoenix clan's supreme weapon. It was as if she was facing a great enemy. However, the mysterious voice did not attack her. Instead, it seemed to be praising her. Not bad. Your Phoenix bloodline is extremely rare. Go to the eastern wall. The primordial Phoenix seal is engraved there. Learn it. Who are you? Senior, are you also a member of the Phoenix clan? The primordial Phoenix seal? The Phoenix clan did not have this. It should be a long-lost secret technique. Murong Qingqing ran to the wall in front of her. After taking a look, her soul trembled. It was really a long-lost secret technique. Chapter 62:14. Looking at the scene in front of her, Murong Qingqing was incomparably happy. She said, Senior, are you also from the Phoenix clan? Girl, you don't need to know so much for now. Cultivate well first. I'll give you a year. If you can master the first move of the Taiga Phoenix seal, you can continue to cultivate here. I'll also tell you some things. A year's time, the first move? Murong Qingqing took a deep breath and began to cultivate. This was an opportunity that belonged to her. She must grasp it tightly. Lin Xian still didn't know about Murong Qingqing's matters. However, she had already begun to move towards the 2nd level of heaven. According to Willow Deity, there was only 1 longevity fruit in the 1st level of heaven. Now, someone had already obtained it. Then, there was no need for him to stay here. He would go and look for the longevity fruit in the 2nd level of heaven first. Beside Willow Deity, a spatial door appeared. It could lead to the second level of heaven. Let's go. Lin Xian took a deep breath and walked inside. The Golden Lion King and the rest also moved forward. Of course, there were a few people who stayed here. They were in charge of investigating who had obtained the first longevity fruit. If possible, they would even take action to snatch it. It wasn't just the people from the divine realm. Most of the people from the Nirvana realm also entered. They left a portion of people here to investigate. After entering the second level of heaven, these people were originally gathered together, but they were randomly teleported away. The toad could only let out a curse and then disappeared. After entering the second level of heaven, Lin Xian felt that the pressure was more terrifying than the first level of heaven. He didn't know how many longevity fruits there were in the second level of heaven. Boom, boom, boom. There were waves crashing below Su Qin. Below him was a sea. Moreover, it was extremely strange. The sea was actually black. It emitted a gloomy and cold aura. Not far away, a demonic beast flew over. However, it didn't fly for long before it was grabbed by a white claw from the black sea below. It was a bone. The palm was rotten and had a gloomy and cold aura. In an instant, the demonic beast was brought into the sea. The demonic beast screamed and turned into a skeleton. Lin Xian frowned when he saw this. This was the aura of death. Moreover, there were also demonic beasts here. Obviously, it was similar to the first layer of heaven. Apart from intruders like them, there were already living beings in this place. Not too far away from Lin Xian, a beam of light flashed and a figure appeared. This person was wearing a black robe. He was an old man with a terrifying aura. A strand of immortal qi permeated the air. This person's immortal qi was actually black and had an extremely cold aura. The name of the old man was Yu Huang. At this moment, when he saw the black sea, he also threw his head back and roared. Ha 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 ha! This is truly a place of good fortune. I sensed an aura that was extremely similar to mine. In this place, my strength might be able to increase. They had already been in a mortal city for a period of time. He discovered that although there were many dangers in this place, there were also great fortunes and opportunities. That was because there were some things here that didn't exist in the outside world. For example, the Black Sea could not be seen from the outside. Just when Bai Mingyuhuang was preparing to enter the sea to cultivate, she suddenly froze. She discovered a figure ahead of her. The masculine aura of that figure made her extremely uncomfortable. His face darkened. Wasn't that Lin Wudi? Nine Yang divine body. That detestable brat. Very soon, she started laughing coldly. Her figure flashed as she entered the black sea below. So what if he has the Nine Yang divine body? Although this brat's combat prowess is unparalleled, in this sea, my strength will increase exponentially. Watch me. Bai Mingyuhuang prepared to act against Lin Xian, because even if she couldn't kill Lin Xian, she had to heavily injure him. She couldn't allow Lin Xian to continue being so arrogant. She hid in the black sea and silently flew towards Lin Xian. When she arrived below Lin Xian, a black spear appeared in her hand. Go to hell! Bai Mingyuhuang roared in anger. She absorbed the energy of the black sea around her. At the same time, immortal qi erupted from her body. The black spear in her hand flew out like a blade of death. There was a smug smile on his aged face. Even if she didn't die from this attack, she would be heavily injured. At that time, she would bring Lin Xian into the sea and torture him to death. At the instant the black spear shot out, Lin Xian moved. His figure flashed as he dodged the attack. Honestly speaking, he already knew about Bai Mingyuhuang's appearance. He had the Rinnegan. How could he not know where Bai Mingyuhuang was? At the instant Bai Mingyuhuang appeared, he knew that Bai Mingyuhuang was someone from the Permitha realm. When Bai Mingyuhuang entered the sea, he knew that Bai Mingyuhuang wanted to ambush him. However, he didn't act recklessly. He was waiting for Bai Mingyuhuang to attack. As expected, Bai Mingyuhuang acted. After dodging the attack, Lin Xian slammed out with his golden palm, aiming for the surface of the sea. With a boom, the sea split apart. Waves slammed against the shore, causing Bai Mingyo Huang's qi and blood to churn. She coughed out a mouthful of blood and retreated, arriving at the depths of the sea. Her expression was extremely unsightly. How is this possible? He actually dodged it. Isn't this brat's soul perception a little too terrifying? Forget it. Since my attack failed, I might as well leave. This brat is a little strange. I'm not a match for him. Bai Mingyu Huang was very decisive. She prepared to leave and cultivate first. Once she was strong enough, she would act. In the air, Lin Xian frowned. Oh, you want to leave? The Permethar realm is very cautious now. But do you think that everything will be fine if you leave? You want to leave safely after making a move against me? You are truly courting death. His figure flashed as he rushed downwards. He had the 9-yang divine body, and the black sea was filled with cold energy. Hence, when he descended, the black sea roared in anger. The wind and clouds churned, forming terrifying waves that wanted to engulf Lin Xian. Lin Xian coldly laughed. He didn't use the 9-yang divine body to block it. With a wave of his hand, a Taiji diagram appeared and covered her body. Yin and Yang revolved around the Taiji diagram. Lin Xian successfully entered the Black Sea. This time around, he didn't receive any attacks. Ahead, Bai Mingyu Huang was originally preparing to cultivate, but all of a sudden, her brows twitched as she felt uneasy in her heart. What's going on? Why do I feel a sense of terror? She sent her soul out to investigate. When she saw Lin Xian entering, she was given a fright. How is this possible? The 9-yang divine body shouldn't be able to come here. Flee! She rapidly retreated. However, a terrifying attack came from behind. A beam of sword qi slashed into her leg. A moment later, the bones in her body cracked apart. The other party wants to kill me. Not good. Bai Mingyo Huang's face turned pale. She felt that she was dead for sure. But at this moment, a voice rang out from the sea. I didn't expect that more people would enter. Moreover, there are 2 of them. This is really surprising. Chapter 62:15. When they heard this voice, Yu Huang and Lin Xian both stopped. Lin Xian frowned. Is there another expert here? He didn't sense it earlier, but Yu Huang seemed to have grabbed onto a life-saving straw. He exclaimed, Greetings, Senior. May I know what test and instructions Senior has? Just say it. I won't hesitate to climb a mountain of swords or go through a sea of flames. Including the 2 of you, there are a total of 12 people. You can start now. 12 people. Lin Xian was shocked when he heard this. Other than the 2 of us, there are 10 more people. Who are they? Yo Huang's hope also rose. Could it be that the people from the Permethar world are here too? However, when they saw the 12 people, they were disappointed. 12 unfamiliar faces. There were humans and demonic beasts. They should be living beings who originally lived here. The auras of these 12 people were also very powerful. The weakest among them was a great emperor. There were even super great emperors among them. In the sea, the cold voice rang out again, cultivate. A month later, you all will have a life and death battle. Only 6 of you will be able to survive. After that, cultivate for another 3 months before the life and death battle. In the end, only 1 of you will be able to leave this place alive. When they heard this, the expressions of the 12 people changed. Even Lin Xian was stunned. How cruel! Senior, why are you doing this? Yu Huang went crazy. If only 1 of them survived, it meant that he would meet Lin Wuti sooner or later. Because I'm too bored, I need you all to fight. Let me watch the battle. This way I can kill some time. Huh. Yu Huang was stunned. Experts are really heartless. A demonic beast in front spoke. Can I leave? I regret it. The cold voice snorted, "Yes, but you will die immediately and very miserably. Have you thought it through? Forget it, I'm willing to stay." That great emperor shook his head. What a joke! This mysterious voice was too terrifying. He didn't dare to resist. If he stayed, he might still be able to survive. There was a chance. "All right, you guys go and cultivate for a month. Don't think about escaping this sea because you can't escape. Of course, as long as you don't leave the sea, you can go anywhere." After speaking, the voice became softer, leaving only the 12 people behind. The 12 people said, "Then let's do it." They were on guard against each other. Then they each flew in a different direction. Yu Huang also gritted her teeth. She glanced at Lin Xian and turned to leave. During this month, he had to do his best to increase his strength. Lin Xian did not go anywhere. He sat down cross-legged on the ground and activated the yin-yang taijutsu. He began to cultivate silently. The Black Sea could increase the power of his taiji diagram. A month passed very quickly. For the past month, the 12 of them had been cultivating like crazy. A month later, they were enveloped by a mysterious force. Then, a hand seemed to grab them and bring them away. Lin Xian also felt this power. He realized that he was moving forward quickly in the sea. However, they did not leave the sea. Soon, they stopped and the 12 of them gathered together again. The mysterious voice sounded again. "All right, you can start fighting now. I'll divide it up for you." With that, he waved his hand and divided the 12 people into 2 teams. Facing each other, each team had 6 people. This was great. They were actually in the same team. Yu Huang heaved a sigh of relief. She discovered that she was on the same side as Lin Xian. This also meant that they didn't have to fight this time around. How lucky! Lin Xian glanced at her expressionlessly. So what if they didn't meet this time around? Just like what the mysterious voice said, only one person would be able to leave this place alive. That person would definitely be him. This Yu Huang would die in his hands sooner or later. He was in no hurry. Let the battle begin. The 2 of them walked out. The first battle was very fast because one was a supreme emperor while the other was an immortal emperor. How could that immortal emperor be a match for them? He was insta-killed in a single move. His remnant soul wanted to flee, but was smacked to death by the supreme emperor. The next battle was also incomparably intense because it was a life and death battle. Hence, no one held back. The Black Sea was dyed red. It was Yu Huang's turn to act. His opponent was also an immortal emperor. After the 2 of them exchanged 30 moves, Bai Ming Yu Huang killed his opponent. His lips curled into a smile. His opponent's strength was extremely terrifying. If this was before, the victor would most probably only be determined after 100 moves. But now 30 moves was sufficient, because in this 1 month, his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. After finishing off his opponent, Yuang even looked at Lin Xian in satisfaction. Her eyes were filled with provocation. The last one was Lin Xian. Lin Xian's opponent was also an immortal emperor. However, this immortal emperor was a demonic beast immortal emperor. His opponent was a bull with 3 heads. In the center of each head's brows, there was a vertical eye. The color of each head was different. This demonic beast was called an ox-headed immortal emperor. When he saw Lin Xian, he grinned. "You are tired because you are alone. Seems like your strength isn't that great. Your grandpa ox has never been defeated by someone at the same level. Hence, you can die in peace." The 3 ox heads spat out thunderstorms as well as strange black runes. The moment they attacked, they were all killing moves. Lin Xian also attacked. The taiji diagram flew out and transformed into a yin-yang fish. It spun in the air and directly cleaved apart the heavens and earth. The attacks in the sky shattered. The ox-headed immortal emperor was cleaved into 2. All 3 of his heads were filled with fear. He died. He was insta-killed. The others all drew in a breath of cold air. Originally, Lin Xian was just an ordinary immortal emperor. They didn't place him in their eyes. After all, there are supreme immortal emperors here. But now, this young man insta-killed the ox-headed immortal emperor. This caused them to be shocked. The strength of this young man wasn't any weaker than a supreme immortal emperor. This was too unbelievable. Even Bai Mingyu Huang trembled as a look of fear appeared in her eyes. Damn, why is this young man's strength so terrifying? Fascinating, truly fascinating. The voice in the sky laughed. I didn't expect that someone's strength would exceed my expectations. It has been a long time since I've seen such an interesting battle. Luckily, you guys have 3 months to cultivate. 3 months later, we will fight to the death. The voice vanished. The remaining 6 all had unsightly looks in their eyes. They were played in the palm of the young man's hand. However, the young man was too strong. They didn't even know where he was. They couldn't even find him. There was no need to talk about resisting. The supreme immortal emperor in front was clad in black robes. His body was like a thick fog. He stared at Lin Xian and spoke. You are very powerful. I hope I can fight against you in the future. Lin Xian laughed. No, I want to fight against him. After speaking, he pointed at Yu Huang. Yu Huang was so frightened that she almost fell to the ground. She transformed into a bolt of lightning and instantly fled. Damn, that Lin Wudi. As expected, he has his eyes on me. The others also found a place and went to cultivate. Lin Xian lifted his head and stared ahead. Up ahead, he could sense an unusual aura. Was there only a black sea here? Why was his Taiji diagram able to sense the aura of yin and yang? Other than the black sea, there should be other powers. Lin Xian's figure flashed as he rushed forward. Chapter 62:16. This time around, only 6 of them were left alive. The next challenge would be even more terrifying. No one wanted to die. Everyone would do their best. Hence, no one wanted to waste these 3 months. They all found a place and quickly went into secluded cultivation to improve themselves. As for Lin Xian, he continued walking. He flew towards the depths of the Black Sea. The further he went, the more terrifying he felt. However, he didn't stop. Half a month later, Lin Xian stopped and didn't leave. Although he had wasted half a month's time, Lin Xian smiled, because he discovered that the Black Sea had reached its end. If he continued forward, it would be a white sea. There wasn't a cold energy there. Instead, it was a scorching energy. As expected, this was the Yin-Yang Sea. It was just that it was extremely vast. His soul couldn't cover it immediately. Now that he saw the scorching energy in front of the Black Sea, he understood. This sea was like a yin-yang diagram. Before this, Yu Huang and the others had been cultivating in the Black Sea. However, Lin Xian had to stand at the boundary between yin and yang to cultivate. This way, not only would he be able to refine his yin-yang diagram, he would even be able to continue cultivating his 9-yang divine body. Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body had received the follow-up incantation and could continue cultivating it. What he needed was such a scorching energy. When he thought of this, Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he stood at the place where the yin-yang split was. He started to cultivate. The yin-yang diagram on his body spun slowly. In the blink of an eye, 3 months passed. Between heaven and earth, that mysterious voice rang out again. All right, stop cultivating and continue the life and death battle. After that, everyone felt that they were enveloped by a mysterious energy that brought them back and forth rapidly. At the next instant, the 6 of them gathered together. Yu Huang became confident again. During these 3 months, his strength was much stronger than before. In fact, he even managed to cultivate an ultimate art called the Netherworld Finger. He was truly too happy. If he was in the outside world, he might not be able to cultivate such an ultimate art even after 100 years. But now, after 3 months, he succeeded. The Netherworld Finger had 3 moves, and he managed to cultivate the first one. However, This had already greatly increased his strength. So he looked at Lin Xian again, his eyes filled with fighting spirit. On the other side, the black-robed man from before was also staring at Lin Xian. He was also very interested in Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was incomparably calm. 3 months of cultivation had strengthened his yin-yang image. This made him extremely happy. From the looks of it, this immortal city indeed had great opportunities. Even though there were no clues about the longevity fruit at the moment, the increase in his strength would be of great help to him when he fought for it in the future. "All right, let's fight." The mysterious voice sounded again. He divided everyone into their opponents. This time, Lin Xian and Yu Huang did not meet. Lin Xian met an opponent. It was the man in the black robe. This man was called Demon Shine. He grinned and said, "Very good. I didn't expect you to be my opponent. I hope you won't disappoint me." Lin Xian walked out and said, "You'd better do your best. Otherwise, you won't have a chance." Since it was a battle of life and death, it was impossible for the other party to escape. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a cold light. With a wave of his hand, the yin-yang diagram appeared and spun between heaven and earth. Immediately, a terrifying power erupted like a volcano, causing the entire black sea to shake violently. This terrifying aura was really too terrifying, causing the other people's faces to change. Even Yu Huang's expression changed. How could this be? This brat's yin-yang aura was actually so terrifying. Other than the 9-yang divine body, the other party had no other choice. He actually cultivated such a mysterious yin-yang diagram. This gave him a big fright. Demon Shine's complexion also sank. She could feel that Lin Xian's aura was much stronger than before. The other party's improvement was even faster than his. This person was unfathomable. Where did this brat come from? Demon Shine was a native martial artist of Immortal City. He didn't know about the intruders. Therefore, he was very confused about Lin Xian's appearance. "Did you feel my strength? You are not my match. Admit defeat now." Lin Xian opened his mouth and said, "I'll give you a quick and painless death." "Brat, you're too arrogant. Although your aura is strong, I will not be defeated. I'm a realm higher than you. Today, I'll show you what it means to be suppressed by a realm." Demon Shine coldly snorted. In the next moment, his figure flickered and the void was instantly torn apart. Demon Shine's body disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already behind Lin Xian. Then he slapped out with his palm. A black light appeared on his palm as he ruthlessly slapped towards Lin Xian's heart. This speed was so fast that the others were startled. Demon Shine was really too terrifying and difficult to deal with. Fortunately, they didn't encounter him. Even Yu Huang had a dignified expression. She discovered that if she were to face this battle, she wouldn't be able to avoid it. Lin Xian's lips curved up in a sneer. What fast speed, but so what? His palms formed a seal, and the yin-yang diagram flew out, spinning behind him. Then he caught the palm strike. A booming sound rang out as the Taiji diagram enveloped this palm. "Your speed is very fast, but your strength is nothing much. You really disappoint me." Lin Xian's voice rang out once more. With a wave of his embroidered robe, the yin-yang sword flew out from the Taiji diagram. Buzz, buzz, buzz! Yin and yang turned into primal chaos. Sword energy blotted out the skies as it rushed towards Demon Shine. Demon Shine relied on his lightning-like speed to rapidly dodge and engage in a fierce battle. But in the end, he still failed. His body was penetrated by the sword chi, and countless cracks appeared on his body. He was nailed to the void. Damn it! In order to escape, Demon Shine had shattered his body. He wanted to recover. However, Lin Xian said that yin and yang transformed into Taiji. The yin and yang swords quickly fused together to form a Taiji sword. Once again, the Taiji sword slashed apart the newly formed body of the opponent. "I won't die." Demon Shine came back to life. Lin Xian said, "No one can survive. Let's see how many times you can revive." That was indeed the case. Although a great emperor's life force was extremely strong, once his energy was exhausted, he would still die. And as expected, on the 6th time, Demon Shine died. He died with reluctance and despair in his heart. His opponent was too strong. He had no way to retaliate at all. Lin Xian waved his hand and kept the Taiji sword. He stood there with his hands behind his back. He glanced at Yu Huang and spoke. "I hope you can survive. I hope to finish you off at the end." Damn it. Yu Huang's expression was incomparably ugly. Finish him off at the end? He understood Lin Xian's meaning. The higher he stood, the harder he would fall. "I will walk to the end, but the final victor will be me." Yu Huang roared in rage and ruthlessly rushed towards his enemy. Chapter 62:17. Yu Huang also defeated his opponent. This time, only 3 of them survived. What followed was a year of cultivation. After a year, only one of the 3 would survive. Yu Huang's face was cold. This time he must learn the last 2 moves of the Netherworld Finger. He went into seclusion. Lin Xian also left the Black Sea and flew towards the White Sea. This time, he wanted to cultivate his 9-yang divine body. He silently cultivated in the White Sea. Time passed very quickly. More than half a year had passed. Lin Xian had been cultivating. His 9-yang divine body had become more terrifying than before. At the same time, Murong Qingqing opened her eyes in the mysterious cave in the first layer of heaven. She formed a seal with her jade-like hands and slapped forward. An immemorial phoenix swept out and roared at the sky. She had already used the first move of the immemorial phoenix seal. Success! Murong Qingqing was overjoyed. In the cave, she also heard the mysterious voice from before. "I didn't misjudge you. In a year, you were able to master the first move of the immemorial phoenix seal. You really surprised me. It seems that your talent and bloodline are stronger than I imagined. Very good. You can continue to cultivate here." After he finished speaking, more mysterious patterns appeared on the wall in front of him. These were the last few moves of the immemorial phoenix seal. "Thank you, Senior." Murong Qingqing was overjoyed. The power of the immemorial phoenix seal was too strong. She must cultivate it. "Once I master it, I will go out and help Big Brother Xian." In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. In the White Sea, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He roared at the sky. His divine body changed again. Lin Xian clenched his fist. His arm shook and the entire sea surged. What a strong power! The cultivation of the 9-yang divine body was indeed even more mysterious and unfathomable. The mysterious person in the sea attacked again. Lin Xian, Yu Huang, and another person appeared together. The last person was a woman. Although she was beautiful, when it came to a life and death battle, no one would hold back. The 3 of them didn't know what to do. Were they going to fight? Yu Huang's eyes flickered. If they really attacked together, he was prepared to join forces with this woman to deal with Lin Wuyi first. "Out of the 3 of you, only one is still alive. But I won't let you bully me with your numbers. You will have a fair fight. So, I'll kill a random person first." As soon as he finished speaking, a peerless killing intent swirled above the heads of Lin Xian and the other 2 before abruptly descending. At this moment, Yu Huang felt a sense of danger to her life. Even Lin Xian's expression changed. His divine body erupted with power, and a layer of armor-like patterns emerged. This was the state of the 9-yang divine body's subsequent cultivation. However, he was fine. Yu Huang was also fine. The other woman let out a blood-curdling scream as her soul was extinguished. Dead. Beads of cold sweat flowed down Yu Huang's forehead. How strong was this mysterious man exactly? Is he an earth immortal? The moment the voice arrived, it killed a terrifying great emperor. Lin Xian also frowned. Immortal City was truly terrifying. There were too many secrets here. Those who were unlucky have already been killed. Only the two of you are left. Let's have a fair fight. Only one of you can survive. Lin Xian smiled. He looked ahead and said, "You should be thankful that I let you live for so long." Yu Huang coldly snorted. "Brat, you are courting death. I won't be defeated." He roared in rage and stabbed out with his finger. He immediately executed his most powerful ultimate art, the Netherworld Finger. BZZ, boundless, gloomy, dark energy, swept out in all directions. After that, it transformed into a pitch-black finger that seemed to stand between heaven and earth. Taiji sword. Lin Xian waved his arm. Yin and Yang condensed into Taiji and slashed down, splitting apart heaven and earth. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out. Yu Huang's ultimate art was blocked. His expression changed. How powerful! However, this wasn't the end. At the next instant, he attacked again. Netherworld Finger, second finger. This attack was even more terrifying compared to before. Not only so, he also executed the third finger. The surrounding black sea churned violently. The third finger surpassed everything. It was as if a divine weapon had exploded. It seemed that Yu Huang didn't intend to give Lin Xian any chance to retreat. In the face of such terrifying attacks, Yu Huang felt that victory was in his hands. He said, "Lin Wudi, prepare to die. Even if you have the power of an immortal, you might not be able to block it." "Is that so?" "You are too confident. Do you think that I haven't cultivated my ultimate art in the past year? Let me show you the ultimate art that I have just cultivated." After speaking, golden flames suddenly bloomed on Lin Xian's body. The black sea was illuminated. It was as if a sun had fallen into the world. In the next instant, Lin Xian's palm slapped over. Great solar undying palm. Previously, the Nine-Yang divine body used the Nine-Yang divine fist. However, after becoming a great emperor, the divine body changed further. Now it was called the Great Solar Undying Palm. Lin Xian had cultivated for a year and could only use it once. However, this move was already extremely terrifying. It covered the sky and illuminated everything, completely enveloping the two Netherworld Fingers. The two Netherworld Fingers actually started to melt under this power. No. Yu Huang screamed in despair. What kind of ultimate art was this? He had no way to block it. Boom! After a single strike, a black hole appeared in the Black Sea. Yu Huang was blasted into ashes. Lin Xian retracted his palm and heaved a sigh of relief. He smiled. How powerful, much more terrifying than the Nine-Yang divine palm. In the air, that mysterious voice rang out. "You went to the White Sea." Lin Xian nodded. "That's right. You won. You can leave here alive. Little fellow, you can leave now before I get angry. Farewell." Lin Xian clasped his fists and spoke. After that, his figure flashed, and he shot up into the sky like a golden arrow. He tore apart the Black Sea and left this place. After Lin Xian left, that mysterious voice rang out again. The power of Taiji, the power of the divine body. This intruder is somewhat interesting. After leaving the Black Sea, Lin Xian continued on his journey. Along the way, he encountered many difficulties again. However, he relied on the power of the divine body, the Taiji sword, and the great solar undying palm. Lin Xian swept through everything in his way. He had fought with a powerful demonic beast, and was also chased by a group of armored soldiers. Later on, because he was annoyed by the pursuit of this team, Lin Xian directly returned and fought against them for a month. He killed all the experts in this team. Just like that, he fought for another half a year. Lin Xian stared ahead as he furrowed his brows. It was as though he was facing a great enemy, because he sensed the power of an earth immortal again. Did an earth immortal from the second heaven appear? He wondered if he would be able to obtain clues about the longevity fruit this time around. Lin Xian drew in a deep breath and flew forward. He wanted to meet this earth immortal. Chapter 60-18. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He flew forward. He didn't know. What was the land immortal in front of him like? To be honest, he was also a little nervous. Gradually, clouds and mist appeared around him, enveloping heaven and earth. The scene in front of him became dreamy. Lin Xian felt that an extremely terrifying soul force was surrounding him. So terrifying, could it be an illusion formation? He used Rinnegan to resist, but the power of his Rinnegan was also suppressed. It could only surround him. This made him even more shocked. As expected of a land immortal, too strong. In the clouds and mist ahead, Lin Xian saw a figure. It was a figure wearing the fantasy battle armor. This was a woman, extremely beautiful, and her black hair fluttered like a waterfall. The other party's eyes were too mysterious, making people not dare to look directly at them. Lin Xian took a look, and it was as if his soul was about to be frozen. He was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat and hurriedly used Rinnegan to resist. He cupped his fists and said, "Greetings, Senior. Young man, you're here." The woman in front of him spoke in a deep voice. Her voice was incomparably pleasant. "I've been paying attention to you for a long time." Lin Xian was taken aback. "Paying attention to me? Senior, we haven't met before." The dreamy woman in front of him said, "You can call me Dream God." "We haven't met before, but in the past 6 months, I've seen your strength clearly. In the past 6 months, you swept through the 4 directions, fought with countless powerhouses, and even killed a super great emperor. And you're just an ordinary great emperor. Your combat strength surpasses everything. How could I not pay attention to you?" "That's true." Lin Xian thought for a moment. The other party should be the guardian of the second layer of heaven. The other party should know about the second layer of heaven, and his actions couldn't be hidden from the other party. So Lin Xian nodded and said, "Senior, you should know that I'm an intruder, and I'm here to look for the longevity fruit. I hope Senior can give me some pointers. I don't have the longevity fruit here, but I know the whereabouts of the longevity fruit. I know the clues of 8 longevity fruits." 8. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air after hearing this. One had to know that only one person had appeared in the first heaven. Now that he knew 8 clues, he would gain a huge advantage. He said, "Please enlighten me." No matter what kind of test it was, he had to succeed. The dream god chuckled. "There's no rush. In another month, I'll choose a few more people to test with. Whoever succeeds in the end, I'll tell him the clue." 1 month? Lin Xian nodded. He continued to sit cross-legged and began to cultivate his 9-yang divine body. During this process, some people spoke up. Among them, there were people from the other world and people from the domain of the gods. The people from the other side gritted their teeth when they saw Lin Xian. On the other hand, the people from God's domain were elated. Apart from this, a few other native cultivators had also been chosen by the dream god. There were a total of 32 people. On God's domain side, including Lin Xian, there were a total of 4 people. There were 5 on Permethaw's side, and the difference wasn't big. The remaining 20+ were all immortal cities, native life forms. Lin Gongzi, it's great that you're here. When the people from the domain of the gods saw this, they all laughed. There were no weaklings among those who could reach the second layer of heaven. Even the weakest among them were emperors. There was also a super emperor. This super emperor was known as the Red Fish Emperor. He had joined the domain of the gods during the apocalyptic tribulation. Lin Xian stood up and walked over to them, asking them a few questions in a low voice. He also asked a few questions about the others. However, these people didn't know because the second layer of heaven was still incredibly vast. They had all been randomly teleported here, so they hadn't met up yet. Forget about it. There was no point in thinking too much about it. Let's finish the dream god's test first. The dream god said that a month had passed and that no one else had come. Then you people will be the ones to take the test. After speaking, she waved her hand. A cloud of mist appeared in her hand. It spun rapidly like a small tornado, bringing with it a storm of consciousness energy. The surrounding people retreated in fear. Was the dream god going to attack them? The dream god chuckled. Don't be afraid, little guys. Next, it was time for the test. The name of this test was Dreaming of the Past. Dreaming of the past? Everyone was stunned. What did that mean? Was this an illusion technique? One of the super emperors on the other side asked. His name was Emperor Gloriastar, and the stars on his body shone brightly. The dream god had said that life was like a dream, and a dream was like life. Whether you're going to experience a dream or a life is up to you. So what is considered a win? The red fish emperor asked. If you can walk out of the dreaming of the past on your own, you will win. If you fail, don't be afraid. I will eliminate you and send you out of the dreaming of the past. Of course, you won't be able to find any clues about the longevity fruit. As for anything else, you can try to figure it out yourself in the dreaming of the past. An instant later, the dream god formed a series of hand seals. The consciousness vortex in his hand flew out and enveloped Lin Xian and the other 32 people. Lin Xian and the others felt the world spin around them. It was as if they were descending from the heavens. The ground below them grew larger and larger in their eyes. With a loud boom, their souls felt like they were about to split open. When they opened their eyes, they were no longer looking at the stars descending from the heavens. Lin Xian didn't know what was going on with the others, but he discovered that there were many more monkeys around him. These monkeys were demonic beasts, but they weren't very powerful. In fact, they were quite weak. It had been many years since Lin Xian had felt such a weak cultivation level. It was just like when he had first started cultivating. Where was this place? Lin Xian stood up and discovered that he had grown furry claws. What was going on? He found a small stream and looked at himself, only to find that he had turned into a monkey. What was going on? How did I turn into a monkey? Wait, the dreaming of the past. This was a dream. It was fake. Did he have to break through this illusory dream? Lin Xian prepared to activate his Rinnegan. However, he discovered that all of his theurgy arts were gone. There were no Rinnegan, no dragon sword soul, and no Nine-Yang divine body. There was nothing. He really did seem to have turned into a monkey. Lin Xian stood there in a daze for a long time. First of all, he was sure that this was a dream. As for the dreaming of the past, was it to let them grow again? Take away all of their theurgy arts. Just as he was thinking, the little monkeys around him said, "Run! The demonic wolves from the nearby mountain range are coming again. They want to eat us." The monkeys scattered in a hubbub. Lin Xian turned his head and saw dozens of demonic wolves flying over. These demonic wolves were surrounded by green lightning, demonic beasts, and they were incomparably stronger than this monkey. They were no match for them. Therefore, he could only run. If he died here, he might not really die, but he would fail. He wouldn't be able to get any clues about the 8 longevity fruits. I can't die now. I want strength. I want to recover my powerful strength. Lin Xian quickly dodged and escaped. First of all, he had to survive. Not only him, but the 32 people who came in were all the same. They didn't have powerful immortal qi, divine fire, and divine abilities. Some became children, some became demonic beasts, and some even became ants and small snakes. Some even became a tree. They were terrified and desperate. Not long after, they faced a crisis. Chapter 62:19. Danger quickly descended upon them, and some of them were turned into ants. In the end, they were quickly trampled to death. In the next instant, he was teleported out of the dream of eternity. His soul shook. When this emperor opened his eyes, he found that he had returned to reality. Did I fail? He had a blank expression on his face. The dream god glanced at him and shook his head slightly. Your aptitude is too poor. You can leave now. After speaking, she waved her hand, tore open the void, and threw this emperor out. In the next instant, her gaze seemed to pierce through the primordial universe and look at the people in the dream of eternity. The corners of her mouth curled up. Let me see how you people cultivate. I hope that I can find my future cultivation path from you. The dream god muttered to himself. That's right. This was her goal. Although she was an immortal, she was still a little confused about her future cultivation path. She didn't know how to walk her path. Therefore, she would capture some people and make them enter the dream of eternity. She would make these people's cultivation and divine abilities disappear. She would turn them into ordinary people, or even worse than ordinary people. She wanted to see how these people would cultivate again and return to their peak. And everyone's cultivation path was different. By observing the cultivation paths of others, she was able to comprehend her own cultivation path. Among these people, there were a few people that she paid special attention to. Lin Xian was one of them. At this moment, Lin Xian was still running away, and the demonic wolves behind him were hot on his heels. Although Lin Xian didn't have any strength now, he still had his experience. Therefore, he set up a few traps and avoided these demonic wolves. He led these monkeys away safely. It's really amazing. How did you do it? From now on, you will be the Monkey King, okay? You will lead us. We don't want to be food for the demonic wolves anymore. The little monkeys looked at Lin Xian and said. Lin Xian nodded and said, okay. If he wanted to cultivate, he had to find cultivation resources. Moreover, he had to break this dream of eternity quickly, although he still didn't understand what the dream god was thinking. However, he had a belief in his heart, and that was to quickly cultivate and recover his strength. Only with enough strength would he be able to break this illusion. Lin Xian had experience with array formations, so he began to lead these little monkeys to set up array formations. In the beginning, the formation was simple. Fortunately, the strength of these demonic wolves was not that strong. With the protection of some simple formations, the safety of these little monkeys was greatly improved. Next, Lin Xian taught these little monkeys how to identify spirit herbs and spirit fruits. He told them to quickly collect these spirit fruits. With these spirit herbs and spirit fruits, Lin Xian would be able to embark on the path of cultivation. This dream was a dream, so Lin Xian could not use the power inside the sword world. He had to rely on himself. Lin Xian began to cultivate silently. He recultivated the 9-yang body and, at the same time, comprehended the sword art. His strength was increasing bit by bit. Not only that, but he also taught the surrounding spirit lakes how to cultivate. As a result, the strength of those monkeys rapidly increased. I have been cultivating for half a year now. I am much stronger than before. I wonder what the flow of time is like outside. Logically speaking, there should be a time difference in the dream. Lin Xian had the Rinnegan. He had created illusions more than once to trap the enemy. 2 or 3 seconds outside, but the enemy had already experienced tens of thousands of years. The dream god was a land immortal. The other party's methods should be even stronger than his. Therefore, staying here for many years was actually just a moment in reality. Thinking of this, he no longer had any worries. He said, "A month later, we will destroy those demonic wolves." A month later, Lin Xian rushed over with those little monkeys. The demonic wolves were originally disdainful. However, when they really fought, they realized that they were no match for these monkeys. In the end, these demonic wolves were all destroyed, and the monkeys occupied the demonic wolves' territory. Your Majesty, you are really too powerful. Those monkeys were extremely excited. Lin Xian said, "Collect the spoils of war. Let's continue to cultivate." Other than him, the other great emperors also began to cultivate again. Everyone's cultivation was different. It could be said that there were all kinds of strange things. For example, the red fish emperor found that he had become an ordinary carp. He wanted the carp to leap through the dragon's gate and become a powerful emperor again. Great Emperor Xiang Xingyao, on the other hand, had become a rock, a meteorite that fell from the sky. However, he relied on his powerful experience and terrifying ultimate techniques. He forcibly turned from a rock into a stone man and began to cultivate in reverse again. Other than that, the other great emperors also did the same. Other than the unlucky one who was killed at the beginning, the others did not die. Their strength was rapidly increasing. After all, in this dream of the ages, it was equivalent to them being reborn. With their great emperor-level experience, as long as they had enough strength, they basically had no obstacles. At Monkey Mountain, after Lin Xian destroyed the demonic wolves, he began to think about his cultivation path. Back then, when he started cultivating as a small martial artist, it could be said that it was extremely difficult and dangerous. He cultivated countless cultivation methods and countless ultimate techniques. However, after becoming a great emperor, he only cultivated a few types. Lin Xian was thinking, should he simplify and only cultivate a few simple types? After thinking about it, Lin Xian decided to cultivate the 9-yang divine body, the power of yin and yang and sword techniques. He did not want the other cultivation methods. He wanted to cultivate these to the extreme. After deciding on the cultivation path, his speed became faster and faster. The 9-yang divine body required some scorching power, so Lin Xian sent these monkeys to find it. As long as he found this natural power, he would take the initiative to attack. His physique was gradually becoming stronger. His body became golden, as if flames were jumping. After the surrounding monkeys saw this, they all exclaimed, "King is too powerful, so magical." What was this? I'll teach you. Lin Xian had killed countless experts before and seized countless cultivation methods and secret manuals. As for the terrifying demonic beasts, he had killed many of them. Therefore, he had a lot of martial arts in his hands. He picked some that he did not need and taught these little monkeys. After all, he needed to collect information about all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures, and he had to rely on these monkeys to inquire about them. Sure enough, after those monkeys finished learning, they were extremely strong. They soared into the clouds and rode the mist. They were extremely excited. "Thank you, Your Majesty. We are willing to follow Your Majesty to the death." Lin Xian said, "Go and find more resources." On this day, a monkey flew over like a gust of wind. He said, "Your Majesty, I found something good. In a cave not far from us, there is a rhinoceros demon. He is much stronger than those demonic wolves from before. Not long ago, I saw the rhinoceros demon's subordinates carrying a terrifying metal block and walking over. The metal block was surrounded by flames. It was extremely magical. The little monkey danced and told him the news. After Lin Xian heard this, his eyes lit up. "Oh, flame divine metal? Coincidentally, I lack a treasure sword." Chapter 60-220. In the distant mountain peak, there was a rhinoceros demon. His strength was also very terrifying. He was the monster king of this area. Recently, he had a distinguished guest, who was a stone man. Although it was a distinguished guest, it was actually someone he didn't dare to provoke. When he first saw the stone man, he wanted to swallow him. However, he was defeated by the stone man. He surrendered and worshipped him as his big brother. The stone man asked him to find all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures. He had just found a piece of iron that was burning with purple flames. This was a good material for forging weapons. He immediately gave it to him. The stone man in front of him was none other than Emperor Star Glory. He was also preparing to subdue some demonic beasts to collect resources for him. He encountered this rhinoceros demon by chance. After defeating it, he immediately took it as his underling. Now he also lacked a suitable weapon. If he forged a saber, His strength would increase once again. He didn't know when he could become a saint. 100 years? That's too long. I used to be a super great emperor. Even if I cultivate again, it will be very fast for me to become a saint. 50 years. Within 50 years, I must become a saint. Emperor Star Glory set a goal for himself. Because this time, he not only wanted to compete with himself, but also with others. He wanted to be the first to crack the dream of eternity. After all, he could save 8 people from the Nirvana realm after getting the 8 longevity fruits. Boom! Just as he was thinking, a thunderous sound came from outside the cave. Dust flew into the air, and the entire cave began to shake violently. Emperor Star Glory frowned. What's going on? The rhinoceros demon's face changed. Who is so reckless? The little rhinoceros demon outside rushed in and said, Your Majesty, there's a monkey coming to kill Wild. Monkey? From the Monkey Mountain nearby? These people really don't know what's good for them. Big brother, don't worry. I'll kill that monkey now. Don't bother me. The stone man waved his hand and said. The rhinoceros demon hurried out of the cave house. Holding a giant axe, he shouted coldly, Damn monkey, come here and die. This monkey was none other than Lin Xian. When Lin Xian looked at the rhinoceros demon, he said, I heard that you found a piece of iron burning with purple flames. Hand it over, and I'll spare your life. Spare my life? You think you can do that? The rhinoceros spirit laughed loudly. Your Monkey Mountain is too poor, I don't like it. Otherwise, do you think you monkeys would still be alive? However, since you've delivered yourself to death, I'll fulfill your wish. After saying that, he swung his axe over. Lin Xian swayed slightly and dodged the attack. He said, Since you refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, I'll fulfill your wish. After saying that, he coldly snorted. The 9-yang divine body blossomed with radiance. Golden flames appeared on his body, burning fiercely. At this moment, he was like a divine monkey, terrifying to the extreme. What is this? Seeing this scene, the rhinoceros was stunned. What kind of great divine power is this? Since when did the Monkey Mountain have such a monkey king? Pretending to be mysterious, the rhinoceros spirit didn't believe it. He raised the mountain-splitting axe with both hands and swung it viciously. Boom! Lin Xian sent the rhinoceros spirit flying with one punch. Both of the rhinoceros spirit's arms were broken. He screamed and flew backward. When he reached the cave abode, he said, Brother Stone, you have to save me. It's just that this monkey is too powerful. The cave was a mess, and there was the sound of the rhinoceros spirit screaming. The stone man, Emperor Star Glory, frowned. You're really trash. Forget it. I'll take care of it. If he didn't take care of the monkeys outside, how could he refine them into weapons? He walked out and said in a deep voice, Kneel down and accept your death. There was a deep light flickering on this stone man's body. It was unusual at first glance. After Lin Xian saw it, he was stunned. Your Emperor Star Glory? Who are you? Emperor Star Glory was stunned. It was impossible for others to know this name, unless it was the 32 people who came in with him. His face was cold. Golden Flames, who are you? You're from the divine realm. Lin Xian smiled. Your eyesight is really bad. This is the 9-yang divine body. Can't you recognize it? You're trash. What? You're that Lin Wudi. Emperor Star Glory was stunned. However, in the next moment, he smiled cruelly. I didn't expect to meet you here. Lin Wudi, I've heard all kinds of legends about you. You're very strong. You can even kill a super great emperor. However, in this dream of the ancient times, you have no advantage. We've lost all our original unique skills and trump cards. Here, you're no longer the invincible genius. Let's see how I crush you. Emperor Star Glory was too excited. This was a good opportunity to attack the other party. He could completely defeat the other party. More importantly, he could eliminate the other party. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but laugh. In the next moment, he made his move. Boom! Emperor Star Glory raised his palm. A ray of starlight flowed out of his stone-like palm. It seemed to be connected to the stars in the 9 heavens. This strange scene stunned the rhinoceroses. The Rhinoceros King also exclaimed, "My big brother is really too powerful. That damn monkey definitely can't resist it." Emperor Star Glory slapped out with his palm. The starlight in the sky fell, forming a huge star. The palm covered the entire mountain. "It's so scary. Run." The rhinoceros were terrified. Was this an immortal descending to the mortal world? When had they ever seen such a method, mobilizing the power of heaven and earth? Lin Xian was also surprised. He had to admit that the other party was really a super great emperor. In this short period of cultivation, he could mobilize the power of heaven and earth. But so what? During this period of time, he cultivated the 9 yang divine body and had been strengthening his physique. He wasn't afraid of anything now. He didn't have any trump cards or divine abilities, and neither did the other party. With an angry roar, he punched out. Boom! Although Lin Xian's fist was small, it directly pierced through the terrifying palm of stars. It tore through all the starlight and attacked forcefully like a golden god of war. After cultivating the 9 yang divine body again, Lin Xian had more insights. Previously, he took some detours in his cultivation. He didn't even know that the 9 yang divine body could be cultivated to the earth immortal realm. But now he was different. He had the follow-up laws of the 9 yang divine body. This cultivation would be more perfect. He had made up for all his previous shortcomings. Therefore, at this moment, his fist was like a god. Both sides exchanged 10 moves. Emperor Starglory's face turned ugly. His stone-like body trembled and became dim. How is this possible? I can't beat him. After having this thought, Emperor Starglory was stunned. This was a fair battle. After cultivating again, he was still not a match for him? Impossible, I don't believe it. It seemed that he had to use his killer move. Star Seal. With Emperor Starglory's current strength, he still couldn't use this move. However, there was no other way. There were too many benefits to killing Lin Wudy. Even if the other party didn't really die, he could still eliminate him. Therefore, he had to disregard everything. With an angry roar, he formed a seal with his palm and a powerful force erupted. His body couldn't hold on any longer and cracks appeared. However, he still struck out with his palm. Chapter 60:21. The astral energy in the sky once again descended, causing the void to boil. Even Emperor Starlight's body was unable to withstand it. Many cracks began to appear on his stone-like body. The Rhinoceros King had already fled far away. This palm strike posed a fatal threat to him. Lin Xian's eyebrows also sank. Was the Rhinoceros King going all out? But did he have the right to do so? Whoosh! Lin Xian didn't use his 9 yang divine body to block the attack. Instead, he waved his hand and snapped off a tree branch in the distance. He removed the leaves from the branch and gripped it in his hand like a sword. His gaze became incredibly cold. Other than being a powerful cultivator of the physique, he was also very strong. He was also a swordsman, and a peerless swordsman at that. With this sword in hand, his aura began to change. At this moment, he was like an unsheathed divine sword, incomparably sharp. The void around him constantly trembled, as if it couldn't withstand the pressure at all. Essence, energy, and spirit as one. What a powerful sword intent. The dream god had been paying close attention this entire time. Apart from the one who had been eliminated, there were still 31 cultivators left. Different paths of cultivation, different lives, all of them were in full view. Some people truly surprised him, especially now that he had discovered the battle between Lin Xian and Emperor Starlight. He was even more surprised. These two had performed exceptionally well after cultivating again. However, He hadn't expected the two of them to exchange blows so quickly. Interesting. Let me see how you're going to fight at such a low cultivation base. The dream god paid close attention. Lin Xian and Emperor Starlight didn't know that the dream god was paying close attention to them. They didn't know what the dream god was thinking either. At this moment, they ignored everything else. They only had eyes for their enemies. Go to hell. After the astral seal was unleashed, Emperor Starlight let out a sigh of relief. The astral light on his body had dimmed significantly. This attack had exceeded his ability to withstand. However, it was worth it to be able to kill his opponent. The moment the astral seal was unleashed, Lin Xian's sword also attacked. Even though it was just an ordinary tree branch, this sword strike was incredibly mysterious and ever-changing. With a light wave, the entire void seemed to tremble. The wind blew, and the clouds surged. A vortex appeared in front of Lin Xian. The vortex blocked the star seal and seemed to want to swallow it. It was useless. It couldn't be swallowed. The star seal has surpassed your current realm. You definitely can't block it. Great Emperor Xing Yao was very confident. However, in the next moment, his expression changed. This was because he realized that, for some reason, Lin Xian was acting strangely. He actually managed to break through the star seal. That tree branch directly rushed towards him. This was impossible. What kind of swordsmanship was that? He didn't even have the power of the great dragon sword soul, so how could he still use this kind of sword technique? Great Emperor Star Brilliance was really stunned. Just as he was in a daze, the sword came over and pierced his shoulder. With a boom, it was as if he was struck by lightning, and his entire body actually flew out. Lin Xian's expression was cold as he walked over. He said in a low voice, "You know nothing about my sword technique. Even if the great dragon sword spirit is not here, I am still an expert in the way of the sword." With another sword, Great Emperor Star Brilliance flew out again. His body was originally made of stone. At this moment, countless stones fell down. He was severely injured. Damn it, just you wait. Great Emperor Star Brilliance turned around and ran. What a joke, he didn't want to die. I'll eliminate you. Lin Xian's sword flew out. Crack, crack, crack. However, halfway through, the tree branch suddenly broke and turned into powder. Lin Xian was taken aback and then smiled bitterly. I forgot that this was just a tree branch. It couldn't withstand too much power. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Great Emperor Star Brilliance escaped. However, Lin Xian ignored him. Inside the cave abode, there was a metal the size of a millstone. There were indeed purple flames jumping on it. Good stuff. If he used this metal to make a sword, then his strength would be much stronger than before. If the sword just now had the support of such a sword, it wouldn't have been interrupted. This Great Emperor Star Brilliance was nothing to be afraid of. The other party still followed the original cultivation path without any improvement. What was the use of only seeking speed? Lin Xian sneered. The other party was too idiotic. One had to know that dreaming back to the ancient times was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So what if he was a great emperor, who could have a chance to cultivate again? For example, how many tens of thousands of years had it taken for Lin Zhan to reincarnate? Lin Xian couldn't afford to waste it. The others couldn't either. The price was too high. However, in this dream back to the ancient times, he had such an opportunity. He could restart his path of cultivation here without any misgivings. He could make up for all the mistakes and shortcomings from before. What he pursued was not speed, but quality. However, this idiot Great Emperor Star Brilliance had neglected this point. So what if the other party was alive? So what if the other party's realm was high? There was no point in walking the same path twice. The rhinoceros spirit ran over and knelt on the ground. Monkey King, from now on, you are my boss and I am your underling. I will not hesitate to go through mountains of knives and seas of fire. Monkey King, please spare my life. It's not that I can't spare you, but you have to continue collecting resources for me. Do you understand? No problem. The stone man from before also asked me to do this. Don't worry, I have experience. Go. Lin Xian waved his hand and said. Next, he began to forge his own sword. Time passed in the blink of an eye. 3 years had passed. Not only did Lin Xian successfully forge a purple fire sword, but he also conquered all the beasts within a radius of 800 miles. They all knew that an extremely terrifying Monkey King had appeared in Monkey Mountain. He was extremely powerful. Not only was his physique strong, but his sword technique was also unparalleled. One sword slashed the sky, and one sword destroyed the earth. Indeed, Lin Xian had walked further on the path of the sword. Lin Xian now had a deeper understanding of cultivation. He only cultivated his physique and sword technique. He didn't cultivate anything else. Although this was simple, Lin Xian's sword was ever-changing and encompassing everything. Not only did it encompass the 5 elements, but it also encompassed yin and yang. His sword was a piece of heaven, a world. Boom! An extremely terrifying aura rose from Lin Xian's body. A sword appeared under his feet and soared into the sky. At this moment, thunder faintly appeared between heaven and earth. The beasts on the surrounding mountains all prostrated themselves. In fact, countless people in this world were shocked. What was this? They were all stunned. Lin Xian was excited. His sword Dao was formed. Great Dao. This was a power that only saints could come into contact with. He didn't expect that his sword technique had already come into contact with the realm of the Great Dao. The 3 years had really made him happy and surprised. It seemed that he had gained a lot from this dream of the ancient times. What a terrifying sword Dao! In the vast forest, there was a giant python that was 100 meters long. He breathed out smoke, and there were countless corpses of beasts under his feet. This giant python was very ferocious. However, it was the Red Fish Emperor. The Red Fish Emperor grew from a small carp to the king of giant pythons. He had also experienced a lot. However, he had yet to condense his own great Tao. At this moment, he raised his head and looked into the distance at the light of the sword Tao. His eyes were filled with envy. Who was it? How could he condense a great Tao in such a short time? Chapter 62:22 Immortal City, the second level. This place was still as mysterious as ever. Many challengers had arrived at the second level. They began to search the area. However, they didn't know that the group that had arrived earlier, such as Lin Xian and the others, had already been tested. In a mysterious place in Immortal City, the dream god looked at the scene in Dream of Ancient Times. He was also shocked. He had formed his own great Tao so quickly. This young man was really extraordinary. His cultivation wasn't very high before. It could even be said that he wasn't outstanding. However, he was the first person to form his own great Tao. What a terrifying sword Tao! I have to observe him carefully. The dream god began to pay attention to Lin Xian. After Lin Xian formed his great Tao, he roared to the sky. His sword Tao was becoming more and more terrifying and mysterious. My great Tao is not perfect yet. I need to continue improving it. At this moment, Lin Xian stepped into the air. He stepped in all directions. Wherever he passed, countless monsters and creatures knelt down. No one dared to resist. When Lin Xian crossed the forest, he met a new opponent. The black bear spirit. This black bear also had its own great Tao. Around it, there was a black storm circling around. When he learned that a new expert had arrived, the black bear spirit was stunned. He walked out of his cave and looked into the distance. However, he didn't attack. Instead, he smiled. I didn't expect that in the small forest ahead, a saint sage would appear. I'm surprised that a saint of the great path has appeared. I'm Black Wind. I see that you're very strong. How about we become sworn brothers? When the time comes, we can join forces. No one in this demon mountain will be our match. Become sworn brothers? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and smiled. No need. You're not qualified to become sworn brothers with me. Lin Xian was speaking the truth. The black bear spirit was furious. This guy is so arrogant. One of his subordinates said, My king, didn't you just get 2 spirit pills? Why don't you invite this person and experiment with him? The black bear spirit's eyes lit up. Good idea. He had obtained 2 spirit pills from an ancient cave. These pills were extremely mysterious. One was black and the other was white. However, he did not dare to test it out rashly. The reason for that was because he discovered that only one of the 2 pills was effective. The other one was poison. That was why if he ate the wrong thing, he would undoubtedly die. Even if he possessed the great Tao and was a saint, he still couldn't comprehend it. Now that he had met another saint of the great path, he had an idea to let the other party eat one. If it was poison, then it would be fine if the other party died. If it wasn't poison, then he would swallow the other party and eat the other party's flesh. In this way, he could be considered to have eaten a miracle pill. Thinking of this, he smiled sinisterly. Brother, let's not talk about becoming sworn brothers for now. Come to my cave and have a seat. I just obtained something good. Help me take a look. If it's good stuff, then bring it over. Lin Xian looked down, an extremely cold light erupting from his eyes. With a slash of his sword, he slashed Black Wind's cave into 2 halves. Countless demonic beasts had died inside. Hei Feng was shocked. The next moment, he was furious. Do you want to die? Do you really think I don't dare to do anything to you? Hei Feng went crazy and waved his claws. Suddenly, the black storm became extremely ferocious and turned into 2 tornadoes. It crushed the void and swept up toward the sky. Lin Xian slashed out with his sword and shattered the black storm. He said, I came here to fight and improve myself. Do you deserve to be my brother? Lin Xian's arrogance completely angered Hei Feng. Hei Feng charged toward the sky, and the 2 fought fiercely. The wind and clouds in the sky changed, and it was extremely terrifying. After 10 moves, Hei Feng was sent flying by the sword, and his blood stained the sky. He screamed in horror. The other party had just obtained the law of the great path. How could he be so powerful? Lin Xian didn't spare him. After a few more moves, Hei Feng's body was torn apart. He screamed in horror, No, spare my life. I'm willing to give you my treasure. He begged for mercy frantically. The other demonic beasts knelt on the ground in fright. In that case, hand it over. Lin Xian stood above the sky with his sword in hand. The black bear below hurriedly took out the 2 spirit pills he had obtained. It was a treasure box. After opening it, there were these 2 pills inside, one black and one white. There were mysterious pill patterns on them, and the aura they emitted made Lin Xian's great path boil. When Hei Feng saw this scene, a hint of pain appeared in his eyes. However, he didn't tell the other party that one of them was poison. In the end, the other party would definitely die if he ate it. Although he couldn't kill the other party with his own hands, being able to see the other party die with his own eyes was considered revenge. Lin Xian waved his hand and took the treasure box over. When he looked at the black and white pills, he was extremely surprised. Good stuff. After eating it, his strength could still improve again. He didn't know when he could recover to become a great emperor. In the next moment, he didn't think too much and directly swallowed these 2 pills together. Great, he ate it. He ate it. Hei Feng cheered excitedly below. However, he still held back. When the other party flared up, he would see how he could destroy the other party. After Lin Xian swallowed the black and white pills, a mysterious light appeared on his body. In the next moment, his pupils constricted, and a rumbling sound came from his body. His body began to shake. Then he spat out a mouthful of blood. Ha! Seeing the scene, Heifeng stood up and laughed. How is it? It doesn't feel good, does it? There's poison in it. Even if you have a great path, you will definitely die. Kneel down and beg me, and I will give you a quick death. The other demons also stood up and sneered. They pulled out their swords and sabers, ready to attack at any time. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with shock as he hovered in the air. Although he spat out blood earlier, there was a Taiji diagram in his body that quickly condensed and formed. With the black and white as the origin, it began to spin. Boom! Then the Taiji diagram flew out of his body and spun rapidly behind him. The yin-yang aura condensed. What's going on? The black bear below was stunned when it saw this scene. Millions of demons were also dumbfounded. This kid didn't die. Why do I feel that his aura has become stronger again? Heifeng's body trembled, and his eyes almost popped out. After a long while, he exclaimed, "A second great path. You actually condensed a second great path." That's right. After eating this black and white spirit pill, Lin Xian condensed the yin-yang great path. His strength changed again and improved a lot. Another black and white pillar of light pierced through the sky. At this moment, countless eyes looked up. In a cave abode, when great Emperor Xing Yao saw this scene, he went crazy. His body trembled. This is the yin-yang aura of that Lin Wudi. He can condense a second great path. He has completely surpassed me. How is this possible? Have I been defeated? Am I really not as good as him? Great Emperor Xing Yao's confidence collapsed at this moment. Chapter 60-23. Lin Xian had condensed his second great Tao, and his power had greatly increased. His lips curled into a smile as he looked at the black bear spirit below. He said, "Were you plotting against me?" Plop. The black bear spirit knelt on the ground, looking worse than crying. He quickly explained, "How is that possible?" "Almighty, I was just joking with you. Look, these black and white elixirs are all miraculous elixirs. Otherwise, how could you condense your second great Tao?" Humph! Lin Xian scoffed, and his voice was like thunder. The pressure on his body swept out, and the Tai Chi diagram hit the black bear spirit directly. The black bear spirit was knocked to the ground, and a terrifying pit appeared on the ground. The black bear spirit spat out blood and screamed, "Spare me, Almighty!" The other beasts also knelt on the ground. Even their king was defeated. How could they resist? Lin Xian said, "Spare me, give me a reason. I know a beast with a treasure. If you get that treasure, you can condense your third great Tao." Third great Tao? Lin Xian shook his head. "I won't condense a normal great Tao. If I do, I hope it has something to do with fire. If the treasure you're talking about has nothing to do with fire, you'll go to hell." Fire? Black Wind thought for a moment, then nodded and said, "That beast does have a powerful fire, and he has a treasure that's very similar to your yin-yang great Tao." "Oh, really?" Lin Xian was even more surprised. "Take me there." He waved his hand, and the yin-yang diagram flew up with Black Wind. Black Wind pointed in a direction, and Lin Xian turned into a beam of sword light and disappeared. Wuya Mountain. The mountain was high and the wind was strong. There were no clouds for thousands of miles. There was a cave abode on the mountain, and countless small beasts lived at the foot of the mountain. Every day, they would kill some creatures and worship them with their blood. The blood would all fly to the cave at the top of the mountain. At this moment, in the void near Wuya Mountain, a sword light stopped and turned into a human. It was Lin Xian. Lin Xian was followed by Black Bear. Black Bear pointed at Wuya Mountain and said, "It's there. That beast is there." What kind of demonic beast was he? Lin Xian asked. Naturally, he could feel that there was a terrifying message coming from the mountain peak in front of him that made him feel pressured. Black Bear said, "It's a golden-winged rock with terrifying strength. He's the king here." No one dared to go against him. Golden-winged rock? Lin Xian nodded after hearing that. He wasn't too surprised. Previously in the real world, he had killed countless powerhouses. The golden-winged rock was nothing in front of him. Even now, he just didn't care. Black Bear said, "Your Majesty, I'll call him for you." After saying that, he wanted to fly down. However, Lin Xian grabbed him and said, "There's no need to go through so much trouble." Lin Xian swung his sword at Boundless Mountain while shouting, "Golden-winged rock, come out!" What? Black Wind was stunned. Morning Ching is a fierce man. Do you know how powerful the golden-winged rock is? You dare to be so arrogant? It's over, it's over. This guy is dead for sure. He had to hide far away. At the foot of Boundless Mountain, the worshipping demonic beasts were also stunned. They all looked up at the sky. Some of the great demons were furious. "You're courting death." 3 great demons soared into the sky, their demonic aura monstrous. With peerless weapons in their hands, they swung them fiercely. Heaven and earth shattered as if the world was about to be destroyed. Black Wind was so scared that he quickly ran away. This kid probably couldn't even beat these great demons, right? After all, Boundless Mountain was a very terrifying place. Get lost. Facing the 3 great demons, Lin Xian snorted coldly and swung down the sword in his hand. It turned into purple flames and slashed down from the sky. A sword turned into a dragon. A giant dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws, shattering the bodies of the 3 great demons. Between heaven and earth, the dragon's roar sounded. This scene was extremely shocking. Black Wind was stunned, and countless demonic beasts below were terrified. Broken bodies fell, and Boundless Mountain was dyed red with blood. All the blood flew toward Boundless Mountain. Lin Xian frowned after seeing this. It's so strange. What kind of cultivation technique is the person inside practicing? He slashed at Boundless Mountain with his sword. Inside Boundless Mountain, a figure opened his eyes. In front of him, there was a yin-yang bottle that was spinning and spitting out light, absorbing the power of the blood. And that figure was extremely terrifying. He had a human body and a pair of golden wings on his back. At this moment, he stood up and was incomparably tall. "Who dares to disturb my cultivation? You're courting death." He looked outside and snorted coldly. Then he grabbed the air with his palm. Outside Boundless Mountain, the void shook, and a golden claw grabbed at Lin Xian from all directions. Oh no! Before the claw landed, Black Wind vomited a large mouthful of blood. He was no match for it at all. Lin Xian was also stunned. This was the power of a quasi-emperor. This golden-winged rock was actually 6-crowned king. This was a true demon king. It was too terrifying. He had just condensed 2 great Daos. Among the saints, he could sweep through everything. However, compared to a quasi-emperor, he was still far behind. Of course, that was only his current strength. Lin Xian's true realm was that of a great emperor. Therefore, he was still not afraid. He stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "You're practicing the power of yin and yang, right? You're on the wrong path. Your Tao is wrong." Buzz! The golden claw in the sky stopped. Black Wind was stunned. At that moment, he thought that they were definitely going to die and turn into ashes. But he didn't expect that there would be a turn for the better. The next moment, a cold voice came from Boundless Mountain. "Continue. All things carry yin and embrace yang. Do you understand?" Lin Xian said. Boom! An extremely terrifying aura rushed out of Boundless Mountain. Suddenly, the sky fell and the earth cracked. This was the power of a quasi-emperor, far surpassing that of a saint. The great demons below also kept trembling. It's over. This guy has angered the golden-winged roc. He's dead meat. Black Wind's face was also filled with despair. Following this, the entrance to the Wuya mountain cave opened, and a golden figure walked out from it. His appearance caused countless demonic beasts to prostrate themselves in worship. This was the golden-winged roc. His aura was indeed powerful. Lin Xian was surprised, but he only nodded slightly. He had even seen more than one real earth immortal, let alone a mere six-crowned king. Lin Xian stood there like a god who ruled the world. His eyes were incomparably deep. This made the golden-winged roc even more surprised. When the other party said those words, the yin-yang vase in front of him shook violently. This made him extremely surprised. The other party had spoken of the true essence of the great Tao of yin and yang. However, when he saw that the other party was just a small saint, he was stunned. He was stunned. What was going on? Who are you? Tell me your name. The golden-winged roc said in a deep voice. As his voice fell, the boundless silver flames on his body swept through the 9 heavens. Lin Xian's gaze went past him and looked at the cave. He saw a yin-yang vase. The next moment, he waved his hand, and a taiji diagram appeared. Come here. A faint voice sounded. The yin-yang vase in the crow cave instantly flew over. It floated in front of Lin Xian. It seemed to be very obedient. This scene made the golden-winged roc's eyes almost pop out. How was this possible? He had obtained this treasure. It had been 800 years, but he hadn't refined it. Did the other party make this vase recognize him as its master with just a few words? Chapter 62:24. The yin-yang dual energy bottle spun quickly in front of Lin Xian, looking very obedient. This made the golden-winged roc dumbfounded. You also know the law of yin and yang? He said in surprise. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the yin and yang aura appeared from his body. Then it spun quickly, forming a taiji diagram. It was extremely mysterious. Perfect fusion. After the golden-winged roc king saw it, he was extremely shocked. May I know who exactly you are? I came from beyond the heavens. Lin Xian pointed at the sky. Then he looked at the other party. He said, Your law of yin and yang is not very good. As Lin Xian's voice sounded, some of the yin and yang aura on the golden-winged roc's body quickly collapsed. Senior, please enlighten me. The golden-winged roc was extremely excited. One had to know how much he wanted to possess the power of yin and yang. However, this power was too difficult for him to control. Now that he had met an expert of the law of yin and yang, how could he miss it? Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently, The Tao cannot be taught easily. At this moment, Lin Xian's eyes were extremely deep, as if he was looking down on all living things. What kind of gaze was that? The golden-winged roc was stunned. As the 6-crowned king, he couldn't release such an expression. Could it be that this person had surpassed him? But why did it feel like he was just a saint? In an instant, he thought of countless possibilities. However, he still didn't understand what the other party meant by coming from beyond the heavens. However, this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He had to seize it. The next moment, he lowered his head. I am willing to follow Senior. Please teach me the law of yin and yang. After saying that, he bowed deeply. This scene stunned the black bear spirit in the distance. This was the golden-winged roc king. What a terrifying existence. Down below, the great demons of Boundless Mountain were also dumbstruck like statues. What did they see? Their king had actually submitted to them. Who exactly was this young man? Follow me? Lin Xian looked at him and smiled. Can you do it? I can guide you. However, I don't keep trash by my side. If you can't satisfy me, I will chase you away at any time. Senior, please instruct me. No matter what you say, I will definitely do it. The golden-winged rock's attitude became even more respectful. "Don't call me senior. Just call me young master." "Yes, young master." Lin Xian extended his hand and the Tai Chi diagram spun. Then it turned into a yin-yang sword and circled around him. "Look, this is the power of yin and yang." After that, Lin Xian demonstrated and gave a few pointers. Instantly, the golden-winged rock king was enlightened. So that's how it is. You can actually cultivate like this. Heavens, I have heavens, The golden-winged, great rock king was enlightened. He was extremely grateful. Young master's words are better than my 1,000 years of cultivation. Master, master, go ahead and tell me, even if it's a mountain of blades or a sea of flames. Lin Xian said, "I do need your help with something. Let's go to your cave abode." Young master, with the golden-winged great Peng King leading the way, the two entered the boundless cave abode, the great rock. They had seen how excited the golden-winged great rock king was during their simple conversation. At the same time, they felt that even though Lin Xian's words were simple, they just couldn't understand it. Was the great Tao simple? They wouldn't be able to understand Lin Xian's words unless they entered the quasi-emperor realm. Lin Xian Rock King entered the boundless cave and nodded slightly. Yes, this was the right place for him to cultivate. He said, "Leave the yin and yang dual qi bottle in my hands first. I will guide you in your cultivation in the future. When you completely master the yin and yang laws, I will return this bottle to you." It was useless for Lin Xian to have this thing. After all, this was just a dream. He would return to reality. Yes, the golden-winged rock king nodded respectfully. He said, "Young master, what do you need me to do?" Lin Xian's body shook. The 9-yang divine body bloomed with light. He seemed to have turned into a sun war god. He said, "I want to cultivate my physique, so I need an extremely terrifying flame. I heard from the black bear spirit that you have this flame. I do have a kind of origin flame, called the golden rock fire." The golden-winged rock king waved his hand and golden flames appeared. This was his demonic fire. It was extremely terrifying. "All right, inject the demonic fire into the entire cave. I want to cultivate." The golden-winged rock king began to release his demonic fire. Lin Xian took out a jade scroll. He engraved some of his understanding of the yin and yang laws on it and threw it to the other party. After releasing the flames, the golden-winged rock king received the jade scroll. He was extremely excited. He retreated to the side and began to cultivate the yin and yang energy. As for Lin Xian, he walked into the golden rock fire and began to cultivate his 9-yang divine body. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. Of course, this was only 10 years in the dream. Perhaps only a few days had passed in the outside world. It might even be a few hours. On this day, in the boundless cave, Lin Xian opened his eyes. The golden rock fire around him had all disappeared. His 9-yang divine body had become more and more terrifying. At this moment, he had already become a supreme saint and was about to enter the quasi-emperor realm. However, it was still not enough. The golden crow fire could no longer provide him with power. If he couldn't find a new flame, his cultivation speed would probably slow down. Lin Xian didn't know how far the others had cultivated. However, he couldn't be careless. Lin Xian told the golden-winged rock king about his worries. After hearing this, the golden-winged rock king nodded. He said, "Young master, my strength is limited. With the golden rock fire that I currently provide, this is all I can do. However, I know of another flame that is extremely terrifying. Even I don't dare to fight against it easily." "Oh, what flame? Where is it?" The golden-winged rock king stood up and took a deep breath. His expression became extremely serious. That flame was called the 3 True Fire. This flame was said to be in the sky. It was extremely mysterious and rare. Even a quasi-emperor couldn't find it. But There was a legend that back then a portion of the three true fire fell from the sky and turned into a domain. I haven't seen it. It's said that the domain is extremely terrifying. A quasi-emperor would most likely die if he went in. Three true fire domain. After Lin Xian heard this, he took a deep breath. A cold light burst out from his eyes. He had never heard of such a flame. However, to be able to make the golden-winged Rock King so terrified, one could imagine that it was definitely an extremely terrifying flame. He would go to the fire domain to look for the three true fire. Lin Xian felt that after finding the three true fire, he would definitely be able to break through and become a quasi-emperor. He might even be close to becoming a great emperor. Take me to the fire domain. As for whether you enter the fire domain or not, it's up to you. Moreover, along the way, I can continue to guide you on the laws of yin and yang. Okay, the golden-winged Rock King nodded. Although he had already condensed the laws of yin and yang, he was still insignificant compared to Lin Xian. After all, Lin Xian's true identity was a great emperor. Moreover, he was a great emperor who had cultivated the power of an immortal. It couldn't be easier to guide the golden-winged Rock King. On this day, the door of the boundless cave abode opened and the golden-winged Rock King flew out. His roar shook the 9 heavens. At this moment, all the great demons in the surrounding area gathered and bowed. However, the golden-winged Rock King ignored these great demons. He spread his body, flapped his wings, and crawled in the void. At the same time, he said, "Young master, please." Countless great demons looked up at the sky. Under their shocked gazes, a figure arrived on the back of the golden-winged Rock King. Chapter 60-25. Heavens. The king in their eyes, the golden-winged rock, had become a mount? It was too unbelievable. One had to know how unruly the golden-winged rock was. There was once a peerless powerhouse from another region who wanted to subdue the golden-winged rock. At that time, that peerless powerhouse came across the sky and fought with the golden-winged rock. The two sides fought for a year and 8 months. It was really a chaotic battle that destroyed mountains and rivers. The golden-winged rock's body was pierced through. However, in the end, he still did not submit. In fact, he even risked his life. That peerless powerhouse had no choice but to leave. He did not expect that the golden-winged rock would be willing to let a youth stand on his back. What kind of trust was this? Let's go. Lin Xian came to the golden-winged rock's back and stood with his hands behind his back. He said, "The golden-winged rock spread his wings. His rock traveled thousands of miles. His speed was extremely fast." Lin Xian began to comprehend the sword technique, because according to the golden-winged rock, the fiery realm was very far away. Even if he was already a rock, it would take him 3 years to fly at this extreme speed. This dream of the ages was really vast. Perhaps only the gods of the land could create such an environment. He wondered just how powerful the dream god was. Lin Xian and the others experienced a lot during the 3-year journey. Along the way, they encountered countless powerhouses. There were humans, beasts, and even vengeful spirits, ghost soldiers, and other strange creatures. Lin Xian fought with them. Every battle was earth-shattering. He once fought his way up to the 9 heavens and fought with a golden crow in the sky. With the strength of his body, he tore the golden crow apart. He also entered the boundless sea and fought with a quasi-emperor flood dragon. That flood dragon rode tens of thousands of demons and swept through the world. However, its body was cut down by Lin Xian. At that time, the sea was completely dyed a sea of blood. Countless beasts were in despair and fear. Lin Xian shattered tens of thousands of ghosts and killed a group of ghost soldiers with a punch. Every battle of his became a legend that was widely spread in this world. Everyone knew that there was a handsome young man who carried a purple longsword on his back and rode a golden-winged great pung to the west. He was looking for the mysterious fire domain. In these 3 years, Lin Xian's swordsmanship had become even more terrifying and mysterious. The coldness of the sword made the golden-winged great rock's hair stand on end. Although the other party was only a great sage now, it would only take a few moves for the other party to kill him. With such strength, he might really be able to enter the fire domain. The golden-winged rock's strength had also increased a lot. It was a mutated beast of heaven and earth, possessing a powerful physique and terrifying flames. Now he had already cultivated the yin-yang law that he wanted, although he was not as good as Lin Xian. However, compared to before, his strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. Other than Lin Xian, the others had also made breakthroughs. Out of the 31 intruders, 2 of them were eliminated. In the process of their growth, they encountered opponents that they could not defeat. It wasn't that they were weak, but that they were too unlucky. Therefore, they were eliminated. After the 2 of them left, the dream god's Sai teleported them away. There were 29 people left. Among them, Lin Xian was the fastest. He had formed 2 great Daos and become a great sage. The 9-yang divine body had reached an unbelievable level, and his swordsmanship was so powerful that it could kill a boundary emperor. In addition, the Red Fish Emperor and the others had also advanced by leaps and bounds, entering the Saint Realm. The Red Fish Emperor had also cultivated to the Great Sage Realm. He did not go on land, but instead fought in the endless sea. He grew from a small carp to a water snake to a giant python and then to a flood dragon. Next, he began to transform into a human. The few people from the divine realm had also grown very well. However, Emperor Starlight's speed had slowed down. He had no choice. He had met Lin Xian before. After the battle with Lin Xian, his confidence had been shattered. As a result, his progress was very slow. When the dream god saw this scene, he shook his head and sighed. He knew that it was only a matter of time before Emperor Starlight was defeated. However, there was another person on the other side that he paid special attention to. She was a woman dressed in green. Her name was Emperor Tsangqing. She was also a super great emperor, but her strength was not as strong as Emperor Starlight's. However, she had performed very well in the dream of eternity. Now, she had begun to break through to the boundary emperor realm. This woman cultivated the merciless Tao, and her speed was very fast. This greatly surprised the dream god. However, the dream god would not cultivate the merciless Tao. He could absorb some of the advantages of the merciless Tao. This time, these intruders are not bad. They have given me new ideas about the Tao of the future. The dream god nodded his head repeatedly as he watched these people cultivate. However, it was still not enough. He wondered if these little fellows could successfully walk out of the dream of eternity. 3 years had passed in the midst of the battles along the way. After Lin Xian killed a powerful demon king, he saw boundless flames in front of him. Was the blaze realm in front of him? Lin Xian asked. The golden-winged great rock also looked into the distance and took a deep breath. That's right, the legendary blaze realm had finally arrived. In the past 3 years, he had been flying at full speed. He was very tired. If Lin Xian had not insisted on coming, he would not have wasted 3 years to come to the Inferno prison. Although there was Samadhi true fire here, it was extremely dangerous. Normal boundary emperors would not dare to come here. Lin Xian looked at the golden-winged great rock. Then he tossed the yin-yang bottle to him. He said, "That's enough. You have finished cultivating the laws of yin and yang. Also, you have brought me to the blaze realm. You don't owe me anything. You can leave now." "Sir," the golden-winged great rock was a little excited. The yin-yang bottle was a treasure, and Lin Xian had given it to him so easily. He felt that he could not see through this young man. In the past 3 years, he realized that Lin Xian was unfathomable. After thinking for a moment, he said, "I am willing to accompany you. Are you not afraid of death?" Lin Xian smiled. The golden-winged great rock said, I am. But I am more afraid of being stagnant. I feel that if I follow you, I might be able to reach a higher realm if I don't die. Okay, come with me. I promise you won't die. Lin Xian turned around with a smile and walked toward the Inferno prison. The golden-winged great rock was excited. He followed. Stop. This is the Blaze Realm. Leave quickly. When Lin Xian arrived at the edge of the Inferno prison, a cold voice suddenly came from ahead. This voice caused one's soul to tremble. Lin Xian stopped. He looked forward and saw that the ground in front of him had changed. Under the ground, there was endless lava and terrifying flames. Although it was only a step away, it was two different worlds. Chapter 62:26. In front of him was a boundless fire domain. The power of the flames was extremely terrifying. Stop! It's the endless fire domain. You can't enter it. 3 fire snakes walked out of the flames in front of him. They were wearing armor and holding sabers in their hands as they spoke coldly. It was indeed the endless fire domain. Lin Xian smiled. I heard that there's the Samadhi true fire here. Is that true? How dare you? Are you here to seize the Samadhi true fire? You're not qualified. One of the fire serpents roared angrily and thrust the spear in its hand over. Boom! Lin Xian took a step forward and swatted the flaming spear away with a slap. Then he stretched out his hand and turned it into a flaming mountain, suppressing the 3-headed fire snake on the ground. Who are you? Let us go, and you're dead. The 3-headed fire snake roared. At the same time, they let out shrill cries. In the depths of the flames, an even more majestic voice came. Who dares to behave atrociously in the fire domain? Your Majesty, it's this kid. Please kill him and save us. The 3-headed fire snake let out a miserable cry. In the distance, dozens of figures walked out. Among them, there was a tall python covered in flames. That was the Fire Snake King. His strength was incomparably strong. A trace of astonishment appeared in his eyes. At the same time, there was a terrifying killing intent. How dare you attack my subordinates? Who are you? You don't deserve to know who I am. Get out of the way. I want to enter this fire domain to find the Samadhi true fire. You're courting death. The Fire Snake King was furious. He quickly charged over. Lin Xian didn't move, but the golden-winged rock king behind him attacked. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. The Fire Snake King was shocked. You're a powerful monster king. Why are you here to behave atrociously? Do you know? The master of this endless fire domain is the Flame Emperor, an existence that transcends everything. You're no match for him at all. The Flame Emperor. Hearing this name, the golden-winged rock king was stunned. Is this the master of the fire domain? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Oh, a great emperor? No wonder this fire domain is so terrifying. No matter where a great emperor was, they were extremely terrifying existences. A demon king like the Great Pun King was no match for a great emperor. Even if countless demon kings came, they probably wouldn't be able to fight against a great emperor. Who was it? A loud voice came from the depths of the fire domain. It sounded like thousands of claps of thunder. When the golden-winged rock king heard this sound, he kept retreating. As if he had been struck by lightning, he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. How terrifying! A single sound had injured him. If it were to be slapped, it would definitely die. No wonder no one dared to come here. The Fire Snake King, on the other hand, was extremely excited. It was the voice of the Flame Emperor. You have angered the Flame Emperor. You will all die. Young master, shall we leave? The Flame Emperor inside was really too terrifying. The golden-winged great rock king's face was filled with shock. The Fire Snake King sneered. Don't you think it's too late to leave now? After he finished speaking, dozens of demon kings appeared in the distance. None of them were weaker than the Golden Rock King. The golden-winged Rock King was stunned. This was really a forbidden land of death. No one dared to be presumptuous here. However, Lin Xian smiled. The Flame Emperor? He walked forward. He said, "I'm here to borrow the 3 true fire." Buzz! In the fire domain ahead, 49 powerful demon kings all stood up when they heard this. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. As long as the Flame Emperor gave the order, they would attack crazily. At this moment, the golden-winged Rock King's face became extremely pale. 49 existences that weren't weaker than him. He would probably be beaten into a bloody mist in an instant. No matter how powerful Lin Xian was, he probably wouldn't be able to withstand it. A cold light appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. Then he formed a mysterious trajectory with his finger. The 49 demon kings on the opposite side trembled. Although this light didn't have any attack power, it seemed to contain the great Tao of heaven and earth. That great Tao directly suppressed their souls. They couldn't even raise their heads. What was going on? Who exactly was this young man? Why did they feel like they were facing the Flame Emperor when they faced him? Who are you? In the endless fire domain, the Flame Emperor spoke again. In the next moment, 10,000 flames surged, and a tall man walked out from inside. This man looked to be in his 30s. He was extremely handsome, and his black hair danced in the wind. He was wearing a flaming battle robe. He stood there like a fire god from the 9 heavens. Was this the Flame Emperor? The golden-winged Rock King felt like kneeling in front of this figure. He couldn't help but kneel down with a plop. There was nothing he could do. This aura was too strong. The other party didn't deliberately release anything, but the power of the great Emperor swept through the world. The Fire Snake King and the other 49 demon kings all knelt on the ground. At the same time, they looked at Lin Xian proudly. "Kid, did you see that? This is the Flame Emperor of the Fire Domain. How powerful! He can destroy you with a single finger." However, when they saw Lin Xian, they were stunned. This was because Lin Xian was still standing there calmly, as if he wasn't affected at all. How was that possible? He actually blocked it. What was going on? The Flame Emperor's eyes flickered, and an extremely mysterious light appeared in his eyes. He said, "You are indeed extraordinary. Although you are only a great saint, why do I feel a power that surpasses the Bible in you?" Lin Xian smiled. "That's because I have also proven my Tao," Lin Xian said as he walked forward. The great emperor's power had no effect on him. He came to the opposite side of the Flame Emperor. The Flame Emperor was even more shocked. This young man was really amazing. "Fellow Taoist, please," the Flame Emperor said with a smile. "How about we have a Tao discussion?" Lin Xian said. The two walked in while talking and laughing. The endless sea of fire surrendered under their feet. It was as if 2 gods were traveling. The Flame Emperor didn't make a move. Instead, he invited the other party in. It was incredible. The 49 demon kings were dumbfounded. The golden-winged Rock King heaved a sigh of relief. Just now, he had walked around the gates of hell. Next, he just had to wait. The Tao discussion in the endless sea of fire belonged to the great emperor level. The other demon kings were not qualified to watch at all. They even felt the sound of the great Tao coming from inside from time to time, which made their bodies almost split open. 9 days later, the Flame Emperor laughed. "Interesting, really interesting. Fellow Taoist Lin, I didn't expect your understanding of the great Tao to be so deep." Lin Xian smiled and said, "I also didn't expect your flame to be so powerful. It is even more terrifying than my 9 sons' divine fire." Lin Xian was indeed surprised by the Flame Emperor. The other party's flame was really terrifying. He was even more curious about this dream of the ages. Was this really just a dream illusion? Why didn't he think so? Where was this place? Chapter 60-27. The Samadhi True Fire is right in front. Lin Gongzi, please. The Flame Emperor led Lin Xian deeper into the fire domain. As he walked, he said, this fire domain was formed because of the Samadhi True Fire. Back then, a ball of flame fell from the ninth heaven. Once this ball of flame fell, it enveloped the endless world and formed a monstrous sea of fire. The living beings inside died in an instant. Later on, only a few powerful beings were able to survive here. Back then, when I cultivated to the Boundary Emperor realm, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens to take another step forward. I encountered a bottleneck. Therefore, I traveled all over the mountains and rivers in search of opportunities. Finally, I saw this sea of fire. I cultivated in it for 3,000 years and broke through to the great Emperor realm. From then on, I lived here. I named this place the Fire Domain. So that's what it was like. Was it really a flame that fell from the ninth heaven? The more Lin Xian listened, the more he felt that this dream of the ancient times was real. What kind of world did the dream god control? He asked, what's above the ninth heaven, other than the great emperors? Are there any super great emperors here? Are there any land immortals? Lin Xian wanted to know if there were any land immortals in the dream of the ancient times. If there were no land immortals, this might be an illusion. If there were land immortals, then this was definitely a real world. The Flame Emperor shook his head and said, I don't know. This world is too vast. I once spent decades flying in one direction, but I couldn't find the end. You have to know that I was flying at the speed of a great emperor, so I gave up on searching. I returned to the fire domain and focused on cultivating. As for whether there are other, more powerful existences, I don't know. However, I feel that there are a few people in this world who are about the same strength as me. It's just that we haven't met yet. They arrived. The Flame Emperor pointed ahead. There was a mysterious flame in front of them. The flame there was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body was starting to crack. There was nothing he could do about it. After all, he was only a great sage. He couldn't withstand the power of this flame. Was this the Samadhi True Fire? It was really too terrifying. Lin Xian was shocked. Yin Emperor said, even now I can't completely get close to the three true fire. I can only cultivate near it. From now on, you can cultivate here. Previously, when I discussed the Tao with you, I was very enlightened, so I also want to go into seclusion. The Flame Emperor left. Lin Xian stood there and took a deep breath. His expression was incomparably serious. Even in the real world, when he was at his peak, his 9-yang divine flame could not be compared to the three true flames. He was very curious. What kind of flame was this three true flames? Could it be a flame left behind by a land immortal? It was too mysterious and terrifying. I'll just cultivate here. After eliminating all distracting thoughts, Lin Xian sat down cross-legged and began to absorb the power of the three true fires in front of him to cultivate his 9-yang divine body. He felt that with the three true flames, he could reach the great Emperor realm. In reality, Lin Xian walked the path of immortals. However, in this dream of the ancient times, he did not have so much time to condense the power of immortals. One had to know that when he tried to condense the power of immortals, he narrowly escaped death. He had to go to the land of destiny to barely stabilize it. Now, he did not have the power of the land of destiny to help him. Moreover, he had 100 years in the immortal city. After 100 years, his power of immortals would be unstable, and he would have to return to the land of destiny. Therefore, he could not really wait for 100 years. He had to end this duel early. He had to find the immortal token. Thinking of this, Lin Xian shouted angrily and began to absorb the power of the three true flames with all his strength. 10 days had passed outside the dream of the ancient times. The dream god smiled. This group of little guys can really persevere. They are much stronger than the last batch. Especially these intruders, they really surprised me. I didn't expect this Lin Xian to be able to find the three true flames. I wonder if he wants to use the three true flames to prove his Tao? Dozens of years had passed in the dream, but only 10 days had passed in the outside world. This difference in time was truly shocking. In the blink of an eye, 100 years had passed in the dream of the ancient times. Too many things had happened in these 100 years. Many people had become quasi-emperors, but not a single one of the 30 or so challengers had become a great emperor. Song Qing was the fastest of them all. Song Qing had already reached the 9-crown king level. Her merciless Tao was truly frightening. However, she was still not satisfied. She had to be the first to break through and prove her Tao. Song Qing began to search for opponents, killing countless powerful Yao kings along the way. Finally, she arrived at the Blaze domain. Song Qing's expression turned serious as she gazed at the fiery world in front of her. How frightening! I can sense an aura inside that makes my heart tremble. Could there be a great emperor here? I can use the blood of a great emperor to prove my Tao. Song Qing had been a super great emperor before, so even though she was now the 9-crown king, she was confident that she could contend against a great emperor. Song Qing arrived at the fire domain. As soon as he set foot on the fire domain, the moment she arrived, the Fire Snake King rushed over with his subordinates. "How dare you? Stop right there and get out of here." Not far away, the golden-winged Great Rock King heard similar words. He opened his eyes and shook his head slightly. 100 years ago, when he and Lin Xian came, he had experienced such a thing. However, he did not expect that someone else would come. Who was so reckless? Did the other party have the same luck as Lin Xian? A mere snake dares to be arrogant in front of me. Song Qing was expressionless. She raised her hand and slashed the Fire Snake King in half. Dead. The golden-winged Great Rock King opened his eyes, and his pupils constricted. 100 years ago, he had once fought the Fire Snake King. Both sides were evenly matched. Even after 100 years, their strength should be about the same. However, the Fire Snake King had been killed with a single slash. It was unbelievable. The person who had come was too terrifying. The Fire Snake King's death angered the other 48 Yao kings. They soared into the sky, their bodies filled with demonic aura. How dare he kill the Fire Snake King here? Unforgivable. Is he challenging the endless fire domain? Kill him. 48 powerful demon kings rushed over. Song Qing sneered. A bunch of ants. The merciless blade shone brightly and swept around. He fought the 48 Yao kings alone. I'm coming too. The golden-winged Great Rock King roared and rushed over. They joined forces to fight the other party. However, they realized that they could not take down the other party. This person was too strong. The Yao kings were also shocked. Why did they feel that the other party was very close to the Flame Emperor? Not long after, they were sent flying. Some of their bodies were broken, and some are seriously injured. Flame Emperor, please attack. The Yao kings retreated and cried out in alarm. In the endless fire domain, in a mysterious palace, the Flame Emperor opened his eyes. Did someone come to cause trouble again? Humph. The other party actually killed the Fire Snake King. Unforgivable. In the next moment, the Flame Emperor stretched out his palm. Outside the palace, endless flames condensed into a huge flaming hand that enveloped the world. It slapped towards Song Qing. Chapter 60-28. As the flaming hand descended, Song Qing's expression shifted. He hadn't expected his opponent to be so powerful. These flames gave him a feeling that he was about to die. With a sway of her body, she turned into a shadow and dodged quickly. He dodged the fatal danger, but the remaining power of the flame still hit him, causing him to fly backward. In an instant, his body was charred black, and many parts of his body were reduced to white bones. What kind of flames were these? How could they be so terrifying? Songqing was stunned. He had never seen such terrifying flames before, and he could sense that his opponent was just an ordinary emperor. How could a single divine flame be so terrifying? Could it be that his opponent was an extremely powerful emperor? He had the strength of a super emperor. Not good, he had kicked an iron plate. Songqing turned around and fled. Even though he cultivated the path of heartlessness, that didn't mean he was an idiot. His opponent was simply too powerful. If he continued to fight, he would definitely die. You want to run? The flame emperor harumphed coldly, and the giant hand slammed down once more. No. Songqing's face was filled with despair. You can't kill me. I belong to the otherworld realm. But it was useless. The flame emperor didn't know what the otherworld realm was, so when the palm landed, Songqing was reduced to ashes. Boom! When Songqing opened his eyes again, he discovered that he had already left the dream of eternity and returned to the real world. Damn it, damn it! He tilted his head back and roared. Had he actually failed? After all, he was already the 9-crown king. If he took another step forward, he would be an emperor. His cultivation speed was the fastest among them all, but he had been eliminated. Unbearable. Shut up. The dream god frowned slightly as he let out a low growl. Instantly, a powerful wave of energy descended upon them. Songqing's body trembled, and he no longer dared to make a ruckus. Only then did he remember that there was a land immortal beside him. He immediately broke out in a cold sweat. The dream god gazed at him and said, Your path of heartlessness is indeed powerful, but it also has a fatal flaw. Think about it carefully. After speaking, the dream god waved his hand, tearing open a spatial rift and tossing Songqing out. There were still 15 people left, and half of them had already been eliminated. The dream god continued to observe. In the beginning, these people were very cautious. However, they were great emperors after all and had unique experiences. Once they reached the quasi-emperor realm, these people immediately became bolder. For example, if Songqing had not gone to the fire zone, he might have become a great emperor there. However, the other party didn't know what was good for him. He thought that just because he had experience, he would be able to fight those above him. In the end, he was slapped to death. The flame emperor withdrew his hand from the boundless fiery domain. Slapping a 9-crown king to death was nothing to him, because over the years, many people had come to challenge him. 100 years have passed. I wonder how fellow Taoist Lin is doing? The flame emperor was very curious about Lin Xian's cultivation, so he decided to investigate. However, just as he turned his gaze, an earth-shattering power came from the depths of the fire domain. Then a long roar tore through the 9 heavens. The entire fire domain shook violently. What happened? The demon kings were terrified. Could it be that a great emperor had arrived? The flame emperor's body swayed, and he walked out instantly. He covered the demon kings with one hand and said, Don't be afraid. It's not the emperor. Fellow Taoist Lin is confirming his Tao. So fast! He became a great emperor in 100 years. That was incredible. After all, he had spent 3,000 years confirming his Tao. Of course, the two could not be compared. The Flame Emperor was confirming his Tao for the first time. This time, Lin Xian was just recovering his strength. However, 100 years was already terrifying. This was faster than Songqing's speed. Even if Songqing did not die, he would not be the first to become a great emperor. Above the 9 heavens, lightning filled the sky. It was another great emperor thunder tribulation. Lin Xian had experienced it once. However, the last time he experienced it, it was the heavenly punishment sword that took the initiative to strike. It was extremely terrifying. This time, Lin Xian did not gather the power of an immortal. He only gathered the power of the divine fire. He was confirming his Tao with the powerful 9 Yang divine body. Although the thunder tribulation this time was terrifying, Lin Xian was confident that he could withstand it. 3 months later, the lightning disappeared. Lin Xian stood in the sky. There was a mysterious and terrifying flame dancing on his body. This flame was no weaker than the Flame Emperor's. It was so powerful, the Flame Emperor was shocked. Lin Xian had just confirmed his Tao, and he felt that the power of the divine fire was almost on par with his. This fellow Taoist Lin is really mysterious. He had tried to find out about Lin Xian's background. In the end, Lin Xian just smiled and did not say anything. The Flame Emperor knew that everyone had their secrets, so he did not ask too much. Now it seemed that Lin Xian had a powerful background. After confirming his Tao and becoming a great emperor, Lin Xian felt the power in his body. This time he was extremely excited. It was different from his power of an immortal. He only had the power of the divine fire. He had never experienced this feeling before. He only dared to try it in the dream of the ancient times. The power of the divine fire was pure and terrifying. Of course, it was more stable. Lin Xian did not feel threatened at all. How about testing the power of the divine fire? Lin Xian looked around. Soon, he fixed his eyes on the Flame Emperor. He said, "Taoist friend, let's spar." No problem. The Flame Emperor rose into the sky. He released a powerful aura and rushed over. Boom! The two collided with each other, unleashing a destructive force that could destroy the heavens and earth. The entire fire domain seemed to be about to split open. The monster kings were even trembling. One look or one finger from the Flame Emperor could probably turn them into ashes. After one hit, the two separated and stood in the void. Lin Xian was shocked. So powerful. The Flame Emperor was indeed terrifying. The Flame Emperor was even more shocked. Lin Xian had just confirmed his Tao, but his combat power was on par with his. It was incredible. He said, "Taoist Lin, you have to be careful. I'm going to use some unique skills." Then he waved his hands. 2 balls of flames appeared on his palm. One was white and the other was green. Then his palms slowly formed a seal. The seal of dual fire. This scene caused Lin Xian to be extremely shocked. The Flame Emperor smiled and said, "The Samadhi true fire is the last kind of flame I have. Before this, I had traveled countless mountains and rivers to find countless flames and fuse them. Taoist Lin, don't underestimate the power of these 2 flames." After saying those words, he pushed the double flame seal forward. Suddenly, a blue and white handprint ran amok between heaven and earth. Lin Xian was surprised. He could feel an extremely violent power on this handprint. Moreover, there was a gloomy and cold aura. The white flame was so gloomy and cold. The green flame seemed to have an endless power. Boom! He waved his hand. The 9-sun divine sword flew out and cut the handprint, shattering it. However, the crack quickly healed under the blue flame. What a powerful recovery power! Lin Xian was shocked. The Flame Emperor said, "That's right. The blue flame has endless vitality. Not only can it recover my body, but it can also recover my unique skills." You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.